Attention please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Well, there's the brain trust for the New York Yankees, hard at work around the cage, sort of. Joe Girardi and Brian Cashman chatting around the cage as they look forward to the day ahead and a matchup against the stalwart of the National League East, the Philadelphia Phillies, as the Yankees wait for all of their veterans to get healthy as they progress towards the start of the regular season 1 month from today. As we welcome you to George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, it is the Yankees against the Philadelphia Phillies. New York Yankees baseball presented today by Verizon Fios. Hey, great to have you with us, everybody. Bob Lorenz along with John Flaherty. Now, Game 8 on the spring training schedule for the Yankees, but flash our first marquee pitching matchup, Hiroki Kuroda against Roy Halladay. And for the Yankees, it's Kuroda getting his first look at the spring, coming off that strong 16-win season last year.
Well, it's a very impressive season for Kuroda coming over the first time to the American League East. The question marks were, would he be able to pitch well in the AL East after pitching in the National League? He answered every one of those questions. A real good split finger, a quality slider, and that fastball will sneak up on you a little bit. Good movement. He was a perfect number 2 guy in the rotation for the New York Yankees last year.
All right, so let's check out today's Verizon Fios pitching matchup. It is Kuroda coming off that 16-win season against Roy Halladay, coming off a very down year for him. Just 11 wins and ERA north of 4. Some back issues limited him in what he could do.
Well, you're right. Some injuries hindered his year last year, but this guy has had an amazing career, had 11 wins last year. But if you look at some of the highlights, a couple of Cy Youngs, big-time All-Star, a perfect game, no hitters, and he also pitched a no-hitter in the postseason. The Phillies hoping he can put those injuries behind him and have another quality All-Star year.
He's already had one solid spring outing against the Tigers. We'll talk about that when we come back here to George M. Steinbrenner Field. Cloudy and cool, but still a very good vibe here in Tampa. We got lineups and first pitch next. Today's Game on Yes is brought to you in part by Tri Honda. Hurry to your local Tri Honda dealer for great deals on the 2013 Pilot. By IMG Academy Youth Sports Camps and Private School. Become more at IMG Academy. And by Poland Spring Brand, sourced only from carefully selected natural springs. Born better. Well, we mentioned a marquee pitching matchup here today in Tampa. Roy Halladay against Hiroki Kuroda, and Charlie Manuel, the manager for the Phillies, brought his marquee lineup as well. So let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup presented by Hyundai. And it will be the veteran shortstop Jimmy Rollins starting things off against Hiroki Kuroda today. He'll play short. Ben Revere, acquired in the offseason from the Twins, is out in center field batting second. The heart and soul of this team, Chase Utley and Ryan Howard, batting 3-4. Utley's at second. Howard is at first. They're happy to see Utley in there after 2 springs in which he didn't play at all. At third base, it is Michael Young, acquired in the offseason from the Rangers. Dominic Brown is out in left field today. The DH is Darren Ruff. John Mayberry Jr. is out in right field, and Steven LaRude will do the catching. And first pitch from Hiroki Kuroda, and it's in for a strike.
Well, nothing new there. If you're a Yankee fan, Kuroda threw strikes all season long last year. Had a very impressive first year in the pinstripes. Yankees happy to have him back for his second season.
And Rollins looks at a pitch up high. 16 wins, very impressive. Everybody wondered how he'd do coming over from the National League, and that ERA in the 3s. He was terrific in his first year with the Yankees.
I'd have to say probably better than advertised, huh, Bob?
No doubt.
Nice surprise. They knew they were getting a big-time pitcher. They just didn't know he would transition so easily with his 16 wins. And we'll look at his numbers for last year. The ERA impressive, 3.32. You love that he pitched over 200 innings and only walked 51 in those 219 2/3.
And in a season where they had to deal with injuries to starting pitchers, guys going on the DL, he was a constant for him. In fact, that inning total, one of his highest of his career. And a 1-2 to Rollins. Misses inside, 2-2.
Well, take a look at our pitcher scouting report on Kuroda. We talked about the smooth transition, 16 wins, a much improved slider, which helped him out, and a perfect number 2 guy in the rotation. Doesn't crave a lot of the attention, pitches right behind Sabathia, does a great job.
2-2, just missing inside again, and runs the count full. Rollins in his 13th season now, starting at short for the Phillies. And laced down the right field line and foul. Let's take a look at the defense you see out in right field there. It's Thomas Neal playing right field today. We'll take a look at the rest of the outfield. Melky Mesa starts the game out in left, and Adonis Garcia is in center. Kevin Youkilis back. We will talk with Meredith Marakovitz about that. He's missed a few spring games here with an oblique issue. Eduardo Nunez at short. Robbie Cano in there at second. It's Kyle Roller at first. And the ball 4 there to Jimmy Rollins, the leadoff hitter aboard for the Phils.
Well, good at bat for Jimmy Rollins, and Kuroda did not miss by much. A fastball with a little bit of movement. And that's what we saw from him last year. He can dial it up to about 93, 94, but relies on a little movement and location with the fastball.
So Rollins aboard at first. Ben Revere acquired in the offseason in a trade with the Twins, a guy who will give you speed, can put the bat on the ball. You see his average last year, batted .294 with the Twins. And it's been a question for Charlie Manuel. Would he put Revere in the leadoff spot and move Rollins out? Rollins hasn't batted second since the 2004 season. But it's something he played with yesterday. And when he was asked about it, Flash said, "Why'd you make the switch?" He goes, "I don't know." So
he's an honest man, Charlie Manuel, great old baseball man. Be honest with the media.
And ball hit into left center field. Rollins will take a look and do nothing more as Adonis Garcia comes up with it. First 2 aboard. Ben Revere with a single there.
Well, Philly fans are going to like watching Ben Revere. You mentioned his speed, Bob. He's probably the only outfielder at this point who has a guaranteed job in camp. And he just stays on that slider and drives it there. I'm sorry, the sinker, and drives it the other way. A lot of competition for outfield positions this spring in Clearwater with the Phillies, but Revere has a spot in center field locked up.
And that'll bring Chase Utley to the plate. Utley happy just to get some Grapefruit League at bats. Past 2 seasons, because of knee issues, has not been able to play down in Florida and has been really limited in games during the regular season. Breaking ball in there, 0-1.
Yeah, good curveball, drops it in for a strike. If you're a Phillies fan, you love seeing Utley back in the lineup. The last 4 years has missed a lot of baseball. got to be happy it's March 1st if you're a Phillies fan. You have Ryan Howard, Utley, your starting shortstop in Rollins, and Michael Young playing to keep that infield healthy all year.
Kuroda just missing outside, and that's really the key for them this year. I mean, they have the talent. There's no doubt about it. It's keeping these guys healthy. Utley, Howard missing a lot of time last year, but Howard coming back from that torn Achilles. And, boy, Charlie Manuel just scrapping together 81 wins last year, basically.
Yeah, 500 ball club last year, 81 and 81. They have top 3 guys in the rotation. If healthy, should produce in a quality infield.
And a grounder to the right side. Kyle Roller off his mitt and into right field. They'll wave Rollins around as Neal comes up with it. First run on the board on the air by the first baseman Roller. It's a 1-0 Phillies lead.
Well, Kuroda made a pitch that he needed to make, trying to get a ground ball with the possibility of a double play. Roller, a guy who played an A-ball last year here in the Florida State League, has a lot of power, but a little bit of trouble going to his right. We saw the Yankees a few days ago make 5 errors in a ball game, a little sloppy defensively early this spring.
Oh, Mark Teixeira, we saw him in the game yesterday against the Blue Jays. It's Roller getting the start at first base today. Runners at first and third now for Ryan Howard here in the top of the first. Howard, a nice day yesterday against the Braves, enjoying a good spring so far. He was 2 for 3, had a home run off Craig Kimbrell, the closer for the Braves. And to second base, Cano to second for 1, and a little off-balance throw, but Howard running easily to first. They got the double play. The run will score. It's 2-0 Phils.
Well, the double play is turned 4-6-3. The timing not perfect. The backhand flip. Nunez off balance, doesn't have a lot on the throw, but like you mentioned, Ryan Howard not really busting it down the line. But good signs for the Yankees early on, with Kuroda getting a couple of ground balls when he needed them.
And here's Michael Young getting regular reps now at third base. Has not been a regular starter at third since the 2010 season with the Rangers. And coming off a season in which he batted .277 at an OBP of .312.
A little bit different seeing him in this Phillies uniform. A mainstay out in Texas, had a great career out there, bounced around a little bit defensively, but always gives you a quality right-handed bat.
Unbelievable in terms of the offense that he provided first across the board, with the exception of runs batted in. Could always hit, always vying for batting titles. What did you think of the way it ended for him? And when I say that, the last 4 or 5 years, they always found somebody to fill his position, and then he'd move somewhere else for him.
It was almost like he was underappreciated in Texas. You know, they knew they had a guy who could obviously swing from the right side, but they moved him around defensively. He was always that odd man out, but every year he found a way to get his hits, drive in his runs.
And Kuroda, a high slider, gets him for a strikeout, but not before the Phillies score 2 here at the top of the first. We're headed to the bottom of the first in Tampa with the Phillies up 2-0.
I got it when we could.
On to the bottom of the first here in Tampa, and we get our first look at the Yankees lineup. The Yankees going against Roy Halladay today. It will be Eduardo Nunez at short, leading off. Francisco Cervelli batting second, doing the catching this afternoon. Robbie Cano is at second, batting third. Kevin Youkilis is in the cleanup spot, playing third base. Juan Rivera, the veteran, is at DH. Melky Mesa out in left field, batting sixth. Thomas Neal is in right, batting 7th. Kyle Roller at first base, hitting 8th. Then Adonis Garcia in center field rounds out the Yankees order.
Well, that lineup for the New York Yankees going to get a look at right-hander, veteran right-hander Roy Halladay, and his numbers from last year. 11 wins, the ERA about 4.5, and only 156 1/3 innings. A down year for him in 2012. Look at our scouting report. I mentioned that 11 wins and the ERA about 4.5. Not what we're used to seeing from Halladay. And shoulder problems, a little back problem, limited him to 156 1/3. And if there are concerns, Bob, it's about the velocity. The velocity last year dipped by about 2 miles an hour across the board on all of his pitches. So something to pay attention to in 2013 to see if he can regain his form.
Now, he had a nice outing in his first start this spring against the Detroit Tigers. Threw 2 innings, gave up just a hit, and said his arm felt good and his arm slot felt good. You didn't think you'd hear that from Roy Halladay, but he said basically back here last year, Flash, the back issues led to shoulder issues, led to all sorts of problems, almost a domino effect, starting with a sore back.
Well, 100%. You see the numbers for Nunez last year. This is a guy who has so much movement and velocity on his pitches. You see that good sinker there in on the hands of Nunez that I thought he would still be able to be better than average even with lack of velocity, but 2 miles an hour is a big deal. He went from 92.5 to 90, just over 90 miles an hour.
And a swing and a miss by Nunez. Leads off with a strikeout.
But he'll throw everything at you. A little sinker, a cutter that moves away from the righties, a curveball, a changeup. He's throwing a little bit harder. He can be dominant. We saw in the Open a couple of no-hitters, a perfect game. Still find a way to win some big league games this year.
It'll bring up Francisco Cervelli. Now, let me ask you about Halladay. That could have been just a product of the back and the shoulder issues, losing the arm slot. As a catcher, if you're catching in the spring, you want to see that velocity increase as it goes on.
I would like to see a little bit of it. I mean, he's a 35-year-old pitcher now who has logged a lot of innings. So just like anybody else around spring training, when you start getting a little bit older and your velocity decreases a little bit, you pay attention if that might come back this year.
And a swing and a miss by Cervelli. He did have a DL stint for about a month and a half last year. Kept him off, and about 100 innings less than he's used to throwing.
Yeah, he looks good early, though, getting ahead with some good movement. Ball's coming out of his hand nice.
And a miss away, 1-2. What about the opportunity for Cervelli this season with Stewart and he doing a lot of the catching, Romine getting some reps?
Well, it's funny seeing him batting in the second spot in the order, right? We're used to seeing Derek Jeter there. Obviously, he's still coming back. Joe Girardi will have a lot of decisions, but Cervelli has opened some eyes up early with his throwing. I mean, we know what type of a player he is. Doesn't have a lot of power. Good hitter for average, drive in some runs. But the throwing has been erratic the last couple of years, and he's cleaned it up this spring.
A grounder to third. Young backing up onto the grass. Long throw to get him, and he won't. Cervelli beating it out. Good effort by Young. Better effort running to the bag by Cervelli, and he's aboard with a single.
You can see Michael Young a little bit frustrated, and he let this ball kind of get deep on him down the line. He backhands it, and you're right, all the way around. A nice play, getting the ball across the diamond in the air, but Cervelli getting down the line in pretty good shape, able to beat it out for an infield hit.
Now, let me ask you, when people wonder, as we take one more look at it, about Young and whether he can play third base again. Great hustle here by Cervelli to beat Young on the throw. Do you really sit there and, for a guy who has played and played defense well, do you say, well, God, we don't know if he can do it anymore? Is it an age thing? Is it that he hasn't been in the field that much?
I mean, obviously, you're going to look at his range a little bit at third base. Michael Young getting up there a little bit as well. You see Robbie's numbers from last year, but there's no doubt Michael Young can play third base every day in the big leagues, and he's going to get that opportunity here in Philly.
Well, Cano up, coming off that season in which he hit .313. Obviously, a little bit of news yesterday in that Brian Cashman address that there had been a significant offer made to him. His agent, Scott Boras, kind of cooled that down in the wake of that, saying he's keeping the focus on baseball. And then Robbie said the exact same thing. Really wanted to focus on the baseball aspect of things right now. Lifts one out to left field. That's Dominic Brown chasing it down for out number 2. Well, let's take a look at the Phillies defense behind Roy Halladay. It is Dominic Brown out in left field, Ben Revere in center, and John Mayberry Jr. out in right. Around the infield, Young, Rollins, Utley, and Howard. Stephen LaRue behind the plate, catching Roy Halladay. Pretty much what you could see opening day in terms of a starting lineup for the Phillies.
You probably have Ruiz behind the plate. But you're right, a very, very representative lineup that Charlie Manuel brought over here to Tampa from Clearwater early in the spring.
And that pitch getting away from LaRue, and Cervelli will advance to second.
Well, Bob, you mentioned from Roy Halladay his second spring training appearance. And you're going to see some things early in spring from some of these pitchers you're not used to. Right there, a slider that misses badly off the plate. A lot of veteran guys will come out here with one thing in mind, working on in his second spring training start. It might be getting the off-speed pitches over for a strike. It might be establishing his fastball inside on righties.
And missing way outside to Youkilis. Way off the plate again, 2-0.
Yeah, a couple of back-to-back sliders, and it's not a mistake. Usually a veteran pitcher will have a game plan for each spring training start.
That's one of those situations, Flash, when you're in that dugout, some name tags are needed, right? When spring starts and you've got that 40-man roster plus some other players there as well.
80-plus players in camp for the New York Yankees this year. That is a lot of uniforms the Kakuza brothers have to lay out there in those lockers.
Duplicate numbers, or maybe they need to start putting A, B, 92A, 92B. There's a 2-1 to Youkilis. Halladay missing, 3-1. Good to see Youkilis back in there. Had that little oblique issue. An issue might even be too strong a word. I think just kept out for precautionary reasons.
And smart all the way around by the Yankees. You know, talking to Kevin about it, he was almost laughing about it because he said he could have played, and happy to be back in there today. Probably going to get 2 at bats, and at .235 batting average kind of jumps out at you because that's not what we're used to seeing from Kevin Youkilis. But all indications he's healthy this spring. He's excited to be here. You expect some good things.
He's got a chance to drive in a run and make it a 2-1 game. Cervelli's at second with 2 outs. And here's a 3-1 from Halladay. Halladay misses away, so 2 aboard here with 2 outs for the Yankees.
Well, that's an approach Yankee fans have seen with the Boston Red Sox for years, and they're going to enjoy it on this side of the rivalry. Very patient hitter. Usually does not chase pitches out of the strike zone. Will take his walks.
Well, we know he was a big part of the book Moneyball because of his penchant for walks and getting on base. Those numbers key in sabermetrics. And the idea behind Moneyball. Here's Juan Rivera DHing today. A veteran, a non-roster spring invitee, 34 years old. Spent last year with the Dodgers, but was kind of the odd man out when they worked the trade with the Red Sox, brought in Adrian Gonzalez and Shane Victorino. So was pretty much relegated to a pinch hitter after that.
He came into camp this year trying to get an opportunity against left-handed pitching, and now with Curtis Granderson, he has more than that.
And up the middle, off the glove of Jimmy Rollins, and he'll just have to squeeze it, and that's it. Bases loaded for the Yankees with 2 outs.
Well, Juan Rivera's had a very solid career, a right-handed hitter with a little bit of power. And all of a sudden, his spring training changes drastically with the injury to Curtis Granderson as Rollins goes up the middle to his left, just can't make the play. Looks like it's going to be an infield hit for Juan Rivera.
And again, Rivera DHing today. Now here's Melky Mesa coming up with the bases loaded. Mesa, another guy, as they look for an outfielder in the absence of Curtis Granderson that would like to get a lot of reps.
Well, if you talk to Joe Girardi, the manager, and Brian Cashman, the general manager, they will be very honest with you. It is an open competition. We are taking a look at young players like Melky Mesa, veteran players like Rivera and Diaz. There's an opportunity to win a job out in left field.
There was a split squad game yesterday. Another Yankees team traveled to take on the Astros, and in that game, Mesa went 2 for 3 and had a 3-run home run. Well, here he is behind 0-2 to Halladay. but with 3 aboard. A little chopper foul down the right field line.
Well, you mentioned that home run, and it's no fluke. Mesa had 23 home runs in the minor leagues last year, stole over 20 bases. But when Joe Girardi talks about him, he raves about his defense, and that is going to be part of this equation in left field. Whether it's early in ball games or late, you can defend with the pitching staff the Yankees have. You're going to get a look. An exciting young player, athletically, power and speed.
Halladay still in the driver's seat, 0-2, working through things with LaRude. And got to get some things straightened out.
Yeah, it's a problem with a young catcher behind the plate, working with a veteran guy.
Let's take you back to last year. Melky Mesa got the call up in September, and here's his first major league hit off the Red Sox and Andrew Bailey. Clean single to center, and boy, his teammates loved it. What a great moment. Every time a player like that comes up with their first major league hit, they mark that ball up and put that one in the archive.
Well, I'll tell you what, you'd be talking about that hit the rest of your life. The conversation always comes up. Who did you get your first hit off of? Big time name, and Andrew Bailey, an ex-closer with the Oakland A's.
And a swing and a miss as Halladay gets him fishing outside. So the Yankees leave the bases loaded. We head to the top of the second with Halladay and the Phils up 2-0. Back in Tampa, 2-0 Phillies lead as we head to the top of the second. Let's take a look at the game time weather conditions brought to you by Toyota. Yesterday, much warmer. Today, not so much. Tampa 61. That's the high. Very cloudy, cool. It's going to get even cooler tonight in the Bronx. Back home, 44 degrees, mostly cloudy. It will dip into the 50s and 40s here over the next couple days, Flash.
I just want to let you know the last couple of days have been picture perfect here in Tampa.
And then I showed up yesterday.
And our director, John Moore, shows up today.
Good.
And look at what happens. That combination brings this weather.
Why did I have to throw myself in with that? I would have
went right
entirely
for the
on John.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, here's Dominic Brown leading things off in the top of the second against Hiroki Kuroda. Brown, another guy in that outfield rotation. Boy, they got a lot of guys, some veterans, some guys that have kicked around their minor league system a little bit, gotten a taste of the big leagues, getting an opportunity.
Well, this kid has jumped out in spring training and kind of gotten off to a quick start and has opened up a lot of eyes. He played some time in the big leagues last year, 56 games. He's gotten out quickly in this outfield competition race.
Now, they hoped he'd be an everyday starter by now, right?
They're hoping that he can play every day, maybe in left field, and you see the numbers for the spring. 2 home runs already, over 400. We remember the Phillies signed Delman Young, who's rehabbing from some surgery. He'll probably try to play right field this year, but he's going to miss a little bit of time at the beginning of the season. So Charlie Manuel looking for a couple of corner outfielders, and he's going to get a look at a lot of the candidates here in the second inning.
They've got John Mayberry Jr. We'll see him. Lance Nick's a veteran.
Yep.
Part of this team. Kuroda missing inside 3-2.
Pay attention to Kuroda here in the second inning. Kind of got off to a rough start in the first, a leadoff walk and a base hit, then got a couple of ground balls and a strikeout. We'll see if this second inning goes a little smoother.
And Brown fouling one away.
First start of spring training for a veteran guy like Kuroda. You don't even really pay attention to the velocity on the fastball. It's about 91. You just want him to get through a couple of innings, get a feel for the mound, a feel for all of your pitches, and most importantly, get out of here healthy.
Chop to the right side. Roller. Easily this time. One away. Well, Flash, let's go back to last year, and when they really needed him the most, obviously they would have loved for Kuroda to get off to a better start, but down the stretch, his last 24 starts, 13-5 at a sub-3 ERA.
Well, and you think back to last year, you know, it's only natural. You come from the National League and the National League West. It doesn't have the reputation as the big power and offensive lineups. You're going to be a little tentative early in the American League, and we saw a little bit of that from Kuroda, but all of a sudden when it clicked, he started really throwing the pitches over the plate early in the count and dominated the second half.
And this is Darren Ruff DHing today. 12 September games for him last year. Nice little call up too. 4 homers, 10 runs batted in.
Well, when you have numbers like that, you're going to get called up. 38 bombs, 104 RBIs in the minor leagues. Impressive.
And a swing and a miss. 38 homers in Double-A. Again, 4 when he comes up. They're just trying to find a spot, get his bat in the line.
And he's in this conversation for some outfield time. I mean, they know he can swing the bat from the right side. He's got a chance here in the spring.
He's made a couple errors in the outfield this spring. Charlie Manuel said I'm not worried about it. Here's a guy making a transition from being an infielder. He's got to kind of learn ball flight, that sort of thing. Back to Kuroda for a second and those second half numbers, Flash. Those numbers spoke to me that when they needed somebody to step up, when there were injuries and CC Sabathia was on the disabled list, they needed a go-to guy. They needed a constant in there, and those numbers speak to that. With a swing and a miss by Kuroda there, 2 away.
And you get a look at that slider from Kuroda. I really thought, Bob, the scouting report on Kuroda coming over, good split finger that he can get a lot of swings and misses, and the fastball, you know, low 90s to mid 90s with movement, but the slider like that gave him another dimension in the American League. And you're right, the personality to basically say, I view myself as a #1 guy. I want the responsibility, and he showed up in the second half.
And now here's John Mayberry Jr. in the mold of Dominic Brown, and I don't want to say they're interchangeable, but both farm products for the Phillies, both with high hopes for these guys that they can deliver on a consistent basis. They just haven't been able to do that yet.
Yeah, we've seen John Mayberry in spring training for years and at the big league level as well. And you're kind of waiting for him to break out and kind of get to that next level. And Charlie Manuel wants him to be more aggressive this spring and just kind of go for it. You know, let it fly, try to hit some home runs, be aggressive on the base paths. A very talented kid who they're looking to go to that next level.
And Kuroda missing behind 2-1. Good slider, just misses.
Yeah, good pitch. I mentioned we pay attention in the second inning how Kuroda would look, and routine ground ball, a strikeout, and a good slider there, and a 2-1 count. He does not get the call. I'm sure Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, very pleased what he's seeing here in the second inning.
And again, squirts one foul down the right field line.
92 miles an hour, Bob, so not too bad for your first spring training outing from Kuroda, not known as a power pitcher. Very respectable velocity there.
Yeah, there might be 2 runs on the board by the Phils, but those came on an error and a double play. So Kuroda getting the job done in that respect with a couple ground balls. 3-2 to Mayberry. And a chopper to third base. Youkilis on the short hop. And he can't glove it, so Mayberry will be aboard.
Well, we've seen a lot of high bouncing balls already early on in this game to the left side of the infield. Kevin Youkilis tries to charge this and kind of play it on that in-between hop, and it just gets locked up at his waist.
And the number 9 hitter now for the Phillies with Mayberry Jr. aboard at first, Stephen LaRue. Brief call up for him last year, just got 10 at bats.
Let's see what John Mayberry's thinking at first base. I mentioned that conversation with Charlie Manuel to have an aggressive spring. When you get on the bases, try to make some things happen. Veteran coach Juan Samuel giving him a little pointers over there, first base coach. See if he tries to steal a bag here with 2 outs. I mentioned the Yankees have been very pleased with Francisco Cervelli behind the plate. Has been very accurate and quick with his throws early in spring training.
Threw out a couple Astros in Kissimmee yesterday.
Yeah, Francisco admitted he might have gotten to the point where he's really trying to rush his throws a little bit more. He's got plenty of arm strength, gets rid of the ball nice and quick, and the accuracy has been there early on this spring.
And Mayberry is off to the races. Ground ball to short, and that thing eats up Eduardo Nunez and rolls into center field. So Mayberry on his way to third, and LaRue is aboard with 2 away.
Well, you can see how the element of speed can disrupt some ball games, as Nunez was moving towards second base to try to cover the stolen base, and they had to try to kind of stop and make a play off balance. Not an easy thing to do as Mayberry's on the run. He just tries to knock it down and eats him up a little bit. Routine ground ball, but because Mayberry was on the run, the Phillies extending the inning.
You can see the English on that too, going away from Nunez as he was breaking towards the bag. So runners at first and third now for the Phillies here in the top of the second, and that'll bring up the leadoff hitter again, Jimmy Rollins. Rollins walked and scored in the first inning. And Kuroda starts him off with ball 1.
Now you start thinking 39. It'll be his 40th pitch coming. With Kuroda, a veteran, you want to be careful. He gets enough work in, but you don't overextend him. Looked like he was going to have a nice easy 1-2-3 second inning. The error by Youkilis, an infield hit off of Nunez. And Larry Rothschild paying attention.
Driven out to right field. That is Thomas Neal chasing it back, looking up. One hopper off the base of the wall. 1 run will score. LaRue being waved around. The ball cut off by Cano and held. 2 more runs scored for the Phillies. They lead it 4-0.
Well, Jimmy Rollins has had a pretty good couple of innings. A leadoff walk to start the ball game off, and then he gets a fastball up in the zone that he hammers to right field. Jimmy Rollins looks like he's in midseason form already. Going to score a couple of runs. That's going to be Hiroki Kuroda's afternoon. That last swing of the bat ended his day.
So we'll take a break here as Joe Girardi makes a pitching change. Phillies leading at 4-0 after the Rollins double. And we welcome you back to Tampa. Yankees-Phillies here on Yes with aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And in the top of the second, Phillies score 2 more against Hiroki Kuroda. David Robertson probably finding himself in the game a little earlier than he expected this afternoon. Jimmy Rollins with the double to score LaRude and Mayberry. And now Robertson coming off a season in which he had 65 appearances. It looks to be penciled in now with Mariano Rivera coming back as the 8th inning guy once again.
Yeah, we usually pitch the 8th inning during the regular season. Unusual to see him out there in the 2nd inning trying to clean this up for Hiroki Kuroda.
Rollins is on second. Ben Revere is the batter. Revere singled and scored in the first.
Yeah, we think back to Revere in his first at bat. He hit a ball the other way out over the plate. And you see the last 2 years for David Robertson. 2011 was unbelievable. 2012 was very good. His numbers in 2011 were incredible. Everything went right, and obviously had a good year last year with a 2.6 ERA.
And a swing and a miss, and it's almost unfair. You put up numbers like that in 2011, and even with an ERA of 2.6, you go, well, what do you have, a subpar year? Not really.
Not at all. It was a very, very good year, and he just dropped a nice changeup there on a 1-1 count. We're so used to seeing David Robertson with that power fastball and the big 12-6 curveball, mixing in a changeup in spring training.
And chopper foul over by Joe Girardi.
You know, Bob, every spring you hear these pitchers, I'm going to work on a changeup this spring. Mariano Rivera for years would say that. And then once the season starts and the bright lights go on, you get away from that 3rd or 4th pitch and you go with what got you there. And for David Robertson, it's that combination of the fastball and the curveball. But spring training, a time to work on some other pitches and see if you can gain some confidence.
1-2 to Ben Revere with Rollins on second. And a swing and a miss, and a good pitch there by Robertson. So he comes in, gets the job done, cleans things up here in the top of the second. As you take a look at some of the legends will be showing up soon. Individual game tickets for the 2013 season at Yankee Stadium are on sale as part of a pre-on sale exclusively for MasterCard holders from now through Sunday, March 3rd at 10 p.m. To use your MasterCard to purchase tickets, visit Yankees.com/priceless or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. And back at George M. Steinbrenner Field as we head to the bottom of the second, and the Phillies leading it 4-0. You take a look at the complex from overhead. DirecTV and the blimp providing these shots. And as we went to break, Saw some of the legends here at Legends Field on the outfield wall, and some of the living legends will be showing up here in the next few weeks. They show up in March. Just kind of be around the team, do a little coaching. So add to the 80 players you mentioned some legends of the game. Driven out to left field. That is Thomas Neal, but it's right into the glove of Dominic Brown for out number 1.
We've already seen some of the guys. Reggie Jackson in camp, Goose Gossage, Lee Mazzilli. But one person we're going to miss down here, Bob, and it's always a highlight in spring training. Yogi Berra not going to make the trek down to Tampa this year. But that's a thrill for all the players. You know, the veteran big leaguers enjoy it. The young kids enjoy having all the legends around. Try to pick their brain and see maybe able to learn something about the game.
Well, in a 4-0 game, here's Kyle Roller batting 8th today for the Yankees and playing first base. Spent last season right here. This was his home park, Tampa. 121 games, 18 homers, 85 runs batted in.
You see Kyle, a big build, looks like a linebacker hitting from the left side, but those 18 home runs and 80 RBIs in the Florida State League, that is legit. But I think unfortunately for him, they don't have guys named Roy Halladay in the Florida State League, and he's going to get a look at just a little bit different game here. A lot more movement, moving the ball in and out from Halladay. We'll see if he can stay on it here with 2 strikes.
And puts one right across the inside part of the plate. Strikes him out looking for out number 2.
Well, Roy Halladay has been doing this to major league hitters for years, starting the fastball in the inner half at the front hip of the lefty, and then it tails back to the inside corner. You know, in A-ball, you're seeing kids who have good arms and they really, have good velocity and power curveballs. You don't see this type of movement and control.
Brings up Adonis Garcia, the 9-hitter. How much did that previous pitch, he buried that change, set up that strikeout pitch?
Every pitch that Halladay throws has a purpose, and it sets up the next one. You're right. Look like an off-speed pitch, maybe change-up or a cutter, and then comes back with the fastball.
He's behind Garcia 2-0 and misses outside 3-0.
But this is a big thrill for some of these young kids, Roller and Garcia. You know, you get an opportunity to face Roy Halladay. I don't care if it's a spring training game or not. You want to see how you match up.
You probably learn something if you're the coaching staff about a hitter, right? Are you intimidated, overmatched, feeling good about your at-bat?
You know, the one thing with all this movement from Roy Halladay, if you have a long swing, it's going to be exposed.
Garcia to third, Michael Young across. And it's a 1-2-3 bottom of the second for the Phillies and Roy Halladay. As we take it to the top of the third, Phillies up 4-0 here in Tampa on Yes. Yankees down 4-0 against Phillies as we head to the top of the third. It's a part of the broadcast where we occasionally like to play Where in the World is Meredith Marakovitz. So where are you, Meredith?
I'm out in left field today. I thought I'd switch it up a little bit. You know, there are a lot of people out in right field today, so I figured I'd come out this way and see the sights from this side of the field. All
right, well, let's talk about some of the things you were able to listen to and talk about prior to the game. And one of them, Kevin Youkilis. Back in the game, they were precautionary reasons. They kept him out. What's the latest with him? How's he feeling?
Bob, he feels fine. In fact, the day after he went to the training staff and said, I feel a little bit of tightness in my oblique, which he later described to the media as more of like a cramp. He said he felt fine that very next day. He understands why the Yankees were being extremely cautious with him still in February at the time. They didn't want to rush him along and they didn't want to risk anything, but he said it was hard for him to sit out even if it was a couple of days because he's one of those guys that likes to be out there every day. So prior to this afternoon's game, he had just 3 at-bats, played in one game and was really itching to get back out there on the field. And coming into today, we weren't sure whether or not we were going to see him in the lineup. Joe Girardi said he'd sleep on it, see how he felt the next day, and speak with Kevin Youkilis as to whether or not he felt like he could go. So clearly the answer is that Kevin Youkilis is 100%. He is back out there on the field.
Chase Utley leading things off here in the top of the third with Java Chamberlain on the hill. Now Chamberlain and Phil Hughes sort of coming up around the same time, but then took divergent paths. Chamberlain to a reliever, Phil Hughes to a starter. Meredith, they're counting on Phil for some big things this year, but they can't do that right now. What's his health status?
Well, he is progressing. I told you the other day that he was doing some pool workouts. In addition to those pool workouts, he's been doing some exercises outside of the pool, and he reiterated the fact to me today that he is 100%. He is pain-free, so that's the most important thing. And there were some whispers that he may be picking up a ball as early as Tuesday. He told me today that if the workout goes well and tomorrow's workout goes well, it looks as though he'll be picking up a ball on Sunday. So he's progressing, and I asked him, at what point in time do you start to get concerned that you may not be ready for the regular season? And he said, we're not there yet. He wants to make sure he's on the mound and he gets a start by about the second, third week of March. March 17th was the date that he gave me that he feels like he needs to be throwing on a mound in a real game by that time to be ready and to have his pitch count up to about 70 to 75 to be ready for the regular season. So right now, he doesn't feel as though the start of the season is in jeopardy for him, but time will tell. It all depends how that back feels when he comes back.
Cano, nice backhand pick to get Utley for the first out here in the top of the third. Good defensive work by Robbie Cano as we take another look, Flash.
Yeah, going to his right. Obviously, we've seen this for many years from Robinson Cano and the strong flip throw across the diamond. Obviously, his contract situation getting some conversation down here, but Robbie just wants to play baseball and look pretty good on that play.
And that's basically, Meredith, what they reiterated yesterday in the wake of Brian Cashman saying that the Yankees had made a significant offer to Cano.
And, Bob, it's interesting, you know, Robbie Cano saw the media swarm coming towards him this morning in the clubhouse, and he wanted no part of it. Although he always has a smile on his face, you could tell he didn't want to be answering any questions. The first thing he did say is, look, I want to focus on baseball. I don't want to be answering these questions. I want to leave that up to my agent and the Yankees to potentially work something out. But right now, my main goal is this 2013 season. I want to help this team get to a World Series and win a championship. So he's a guy that's not going to talk about this contract at all this year, but at the same time he did admit the fact that it is difficult to block it out. It is something that is in the back of his head, so it's interesting as to whether or not that will affect him on the field and whether or not he'll be thinking of that, and you'll start to see some of that in his performance on the field.
Second straight sterling defensive play. Kevin Youkilis on this one with a shift on against Ryan Howard, Flash.
Well, the oblique looks fine, playing a little shortstop on that shift and laying out. An easy play for Kevin Youkilis once he got the ball in his glove.
2 away. Michael Young will be the batter. Let's talk quickly about the catching situation. It's Francisco Cervelli in today. Is there any better feel for the base hit to right off the bat of Young, what the Yankees will do?
Great job.
Well, you look at Francisco Cervelli and really the catching battle between him, Chris Stewart, and Austin Romine, and something to consider and something that Brian Cashman brought up the other day is the fact that Cervelli and Stewart don't have any options left. Austin Romine does. So unless something crazy happens and there are some unforeseen circumstances, it looks like Stewart and Cervelli will start the season on the opening day roster. Now, which guy will get the start opening day, that still remains to be seen. seen. I can tell you this, Francisco Cervelli has opened eyes a little bit as far as his defense. That's part of his game that maybe slipped a little bit in the last 2 years, and something he really focused on coming into this season. When he was demoted last year to AAA, he said the first 2 months obviously were tough. He was just kind of trying to wrap his head around the fact that he had been sent down to AAA, and after he kind of realized that this is the situation, I have to make the most of it, he really focused on the fundamentals, on the defense, on getting back to where he was defensively. He also played winter ball in Venezuela, and he worked on that aspect of his game as well, and you saw it, he's already thrown out 3 runners so far this spring season, so something that the Yankees are going to keep their eye on, and Joe Girardi and the front office saying, look, defense is going to be the biggest part of that catching spot, so look for the better defender to win that battle.
All right, Meredith, we will look for you a little later on with, I guess, in-game interviews.
Yes, I will be down by the clubhouse afterwards, so hopefully we'll be able to talk to some of these players after they come out of the game.
Well, in that case, we know where to find you at that point. Meredith, thanks.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you guys later.
Let's talk about the secondary element to the catching situation. Do you think some of the other catchers, the Gary Sanchez, Jerry Murphy, that they know in the back of their mind, I might just be able to open some eyes? I don't think I can, maybe have an impact with the big league club flash, but, I can get a little bit of attention here.
Yeah, this spring there's going to be a lot of opportunities for young players all over the field. And, with the extended spring training with the WBC, young players, young catchers, J.R. Murphy's hit a home run already this spring, has opened up some eyes. But like Meredith said, Brian Cashman mentioning both the veteran guys, Cervelli and Stewart, out of options. So unless somebody gets hurt, it looks like they're going to be locked in.
Now, is it possible that Brian Cashman at the end of spring training could make a move if there's a veteran catcher out there? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But he said right now, this is the way we're going, and he's been consistent with that message. Dominic Brown is at the plate with 2 outs and Michael Young on first. Jabba Chamberlain gets him. A little check swing there, and he holds up. Moves the count to 3-2.
Well, Jabba this inning going with a lot of off-speed pitches, throwing that curveball a bunch. You mentioned the slider right there. And usually we see from Jabba when he's healthy, obviously the injuries last year, but his velocity takes a little bit of time to get going towards the end of spring training and the beginning of the year.
And Michael Young on the move on 3-2. It's ball 4. So the Phillies will have runners at first and second with 2 away. Well, Jabba, another guy that's healthy. That's good news in spring training because he did miss much of the season last year. But another guy they're going to need that health and consistency out of to really lock up that 7th spot with Soriano gone.
Well, that's the game plan going in with this bullpen. Obviously Jabba looking for maybe the 7th, David Robertson the 8th, Mariano Rivera progressing well. Looks like he'll be closing games out in the 9th. You're kind of waiting for Jabba to have that, obviously he's had flashes of brilliance in the past, but that good consistent year where his first 9 games last year he got off to a tough start, things got better the last 13. You want to see him do it for a full season.
And a swing and a miss by Darren Ruff. Ruff struck out swinging in his first at bat. We mentioned Reggie here, and he's in the stadium in the dugout for the Yankees talking to Larry Rothschild. Two aboard, 2 away here, top of the 3rd, and Jabba missing to Ruff. Evens the count at 2-2.
Nice play by Cervelli, keeping that slider in front. We talk about this catching competition. It's really going to come down to who works with the pitching staff a little bit better. You might match up pitchers with particular catchers and do a little platoon system. It's all yet to be determined.
2-2 to Ruff. And Jabba fastball up high, cracks the mid at 94. But it's a ball, full count.
Velocity getting a little bit better here as we're working our way through the 3rd inning for Jabba Chamberlain. 3-2 count with 2 outs. In the past we've seen Jabba have a lot of confidence going to the slider with this count.
Young and Brown on the move with 2 away and driven into left field and foul. Jabba has that look on his face like, I want to make sure I don't do that again.
Well, a young hitter he doesn't know a whole lot about. We've seen some of the numbers for Roof in the minor leagues. Big time power and a pretty short swing on that fastball.
And ball 4, so the Phillies will have the bases loaded. A single and 2 consecutive walks with 2 away. Phillies trying to put a couple more on the board here in the 3rd.
Well, back-to-back walks from Jabba Chamberlain, but it's not like he's all over the place, kind of just missing with his location. Velocity's gotten a little bit better. And Francisco Cervelli just giving him a little time to regroup here in the 3rd inning. And a couple of quick outs, a base hit to Michael Young, and back-to-back walks.
Young's at 3rd, Brown's at 2nd, Roof is at 1st. And the batter will be John Mayberry Jr. And base hit into right field. Thomas Neal will chase it down. Young will score. Brown waved around. That's 2 in. And Roof advancing to 3rd. So a 2-out, 2 RBI base hit for John Mayberry Jr. and it's 6-0 Phillies.
Well, I guess that talk with Charlie Manuel to be more aggressive from Mayberry. He goes up and he swings at a first pitch fastball. He just drives it the other way. Jabba looked like he was going to have an easy 3rd inning, a base hit, a couple of walks, and now a base hit to drive in 2. You don't worry about it too much at the beginning of spring training. Pitchers just trying to get their legs underneath them, mix in their pitches. But I don't care who you are. You're not happy if you're giving up runs in a spring training game or a regular season game. We'll see if he can work out of it here with 2 outs.
Roof is at 3rd, Mayberry at 1st, and it brings up the 9-hitter Steven LaRue, the catcher. He singled and scored in the Phillies' 2-run 2nd inning. 6-0 Phils here in Tampa. And an off-speed pitch in for a strike, 0-1. Cervelli giving Mayberry a look over at first as he strayed from the bag.
We talked about Cervelli and his improved throwing early in spring training, and playing winter ball obviously helps with that. He comes into camp in baseball shape, ready to go, and has opened some eyes early on.
And a swing and a miss there. So Jabba closing things out here in the top of the 3rd, but not before the Phillies get 2 more on the board and lead it 6-0. Well, the Yankees have launched Yankees Ticket Exchange, the official resale marketplace of the Yankees and Yankees.com. It's a safe, secure, and convenient way for fans to buy and resell Yankees tickets. For more information, visit Yankees.com/ticket exchange. And in the shadow of George M. Steinbrenner Field, or maybe vice versa, the larger football stadium, Raymond James Stadium, home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right across the road. And you see the complex there for the Yankees, the back fields. And that is Dale Mabry Boulevard. We're in traffic on it, Flash, every day.
Every day.
6-0 Phillies here, bottom of the third. Roy Halladay out for his third inning of work. And Eduardo Nunez leads things off. He's held the Yankees to a couple of hits. Nunez struck out his first time leading off the game. What do you think of Halladay so far in the first outing against the Tigers? He worked a couple innings and Torrey Hunter called him filthy.
I mean, the good news for the Phillies, he had to work a little bit in the first inning, got out of it, and here in routine ground ball to Rollins for Nunez. But you'd like to see your pitchers have to work a little bit in spring training, work out of some jams, which Halladay did in the first, had an easy second. We're off to a good start here in the third.
That'll bring up Francisco Cervelli. He singled in his first at bat, advanced as far as third base. The Yankees able to load the bases against Halladay in the first, but unable to push a run across.
You know, Bob, I think the true test for Halladay is coming towards the end of spring training when you want to see the increase in velocity. I mean, his pitches are moving where he wants them to. Looks like he's got good cut, good sink, locating. If he can get to the end of spring training and stay healthy and all of a sudden get back to that 92, 93 miles an hour, Philly fans are going to be pretty excited.
Cole Hamels had a nice outing yesterday. He'll be their opening day starter. Hamels, Halladay, Cliff Lee. Again, one of the top three, if not the top three in baseball. Make an argument for maybe the Nationals with Strasburg, Gio Gonzalez.
Well, you're right. That rotation and the top three of that rotation is going to have to hang in there against the Washington Nationals in the NL East this year.
And the Braves, too. What do you think of that division as a whole?
I think it's going to be, you know, obviously tough. The Mets are maybe a little undermanned, and the Braves have made a couple of additions with the Upton brothers. But I mean, the cream of that division obviously is the Washington Nationals. They're going to be an exciting team. But if you look at the Phillies and say, okay, if I can keep my infield healthy and my top three starters have big years, you never know how it can play out.
Cervelli, hard shot out to the gap in right center field. He's off to the races for second base and will be in there standing up with a one-out double.
Francisco Cervelli this spring training is playing like a man who wants a lot of playing time. Opportunity with Russell Martin not coming back. And he has gotten off to a nice start. An infield hit today, and now a double to right center field. We've talked about his improved throwing. A very good start to spring training and the open audition for the catching position for Francisco Cervelli.
And that'll be it for Roy Halladay. Here with one out in the bottom of the third. We'll step aside here on Yes and be back with more. Phillies leading the Yanks 6-0.
we've got a good, real strong leg. I think Atlanta's definitely going to be good. The Nationals, of course, everybody picks them and things like that, and deservingly. They played the best baseball last year. And our division's going to be tough. But at the same time, I still think that we can definitely get there.
Well, manager Charlie Manuel talking about his ball club. We'll take a look at our team scouting report, which is brought to you by Tri Honda. For Charlie Manuel's Philadelphia Phillies this year. And last year they were a 500 ball club, 81 and 81. A lot of injuries to a couple of his core players. And we talked about it. They can keep that infield healthy and the rotation healthy. They will have a chance. And a lot of outfield competition. Delman Young, when he comes back, will have a job. Ben Revere has a job. But until that point, a lot of young kids trying to open some eyes here in spring training.
And with Revere, Mayberry Jr., Brown, if they're in there, some kind of outfield rotation, there's more speed. Maybe they'll run a little more. Certainly guys like Howard and Utley, Michael Young are not going to do that. It's Cesar Jimenez, the left-hander in the minor leagues last year, 26 games, facing Robinson Cano here with one away. And Cano pulls one foul. Francisco Cervelli on second with a one-out double.
Robinson Cano getting a lot of playing time early this spring training. He's going to go play in the WBC, so trying to get a lot of at-bats and get his timing down, and gets an opportunity to face a left-hander here. Kind of get a feel for where his swing is, left on left.
And Cano looks at ball one. And these WBC years, they are different years. We're going to start to see this weekend some of these players go away. Cano to the Dominican team for the WBC. The Phillies have 11 players that are going to various teams. Jimmy Rollins, this is his last game before he leaves for Team USA.
Well, it does a lot of things. Obviously, I think the WBC is good for baseball in general. And guys like Robinson Cano, they want to play for their home country. But it's a different mindset for Robinson Cano on March 1st than it would be in any other spring training. He wants to get himself ready, get his timing down, so when he goes to that tournament, he'll be a productive player. What it also does is gives a lot of young kids some opportunities when some of these star players go on to their respective teams.
Cano to the left side. Rollins diving, won't get it. Cervelli being waved around by Robbie Thompson. The throw home off the mark, and Cervelli's in. Yankees are on the board. An RBI single by Robinson Cano makes it 6-1.
A little smile for Robinson Cano, and rightfully so. Left on left, just stays inside the ball and drives it the other way. Francisco Cervelli gets a good jump. Robbie Thompson, third base coach, aggressive, waving him home. Dominic Brown, a strong throw, just up the line a little bit. Well, gets a good jump right there. Usually when the ball is behind you when you're a runner at second base is when you get the better jump, but Cervelli reading that one well in the hole. Gave us a little clap as he slides across home plate.
Cano's at first. Youkilis is the batter. Walked in the first inning. Yankees fans, you said they'll get used to his style of play in a hurry and will come to appreciate it. It's taken a while to get used to that Kevin Youkilis without facial hair.
Definitely a little different look, and obviously in the pinstripes. And you know, Meredith was talking about Kevin, that the injury not that big of a deal, but when you come to a new team, you want to get out there with your guys and your teammates and make a nice first impression. I think there's a lot to look forward to with Kevin Youkilis this year. Obviously a down year last year, some injuries. It's a new start here in New York, a new opportunity. Looks like he's going to get plenty of playing time at third base.
And again, a patient hitter has looked at 2 straight strikes, evens the count at 2-2. As you take a look at everything he's accomplished now in his 10th major league season, a 3-time All-Star. And of course 2 World Championship rings with the Boston Red Sox. With the White Sox last year after being traded. And you see him punched out there for out number 2.
Well, he got ahead in the count and then looked at 3 strikes. The last one is just dotted on the inside corner from the left-hander. We talked about Kevin being a very patient hitter. Took a look at a couple of fastballs there, and Joe Girardi's going to talk about how he feels and does he want another at bat, or is that it for the afternoon?
But with 2 outs, here's Juan Rivera, the DH. A big swing and a miss. He singled in the first inning. That loaded the bases, but Melky Mesa ended up striking out to end the inning and leave the bases loaded. And hard hit out to left field and down the line. That'll get into the corner as Robbie Cano makes it to third. It's a double with 2 outs for Juan Rivera. Yankees still in business here in their half of the third.
Well, Juan Rivera signed with the New York Yankees, coming back to the Yankee organization for opportunities to maybe DH against left-handers. Facing the lefty here, doing a nice job of keeping this ball fair, not being too quick and hooking it foul. Obviously, the chance for more playing time with Curtis Granderson out. There's an opportunity for Juan Rivera maybe to play some left field, but predominantly a guy they want to DH against lefties if he can make this ball club.
So Melky Mesa at the plate with 2 outs and runners at second and third. Had an opportunity with the bases loaded in the first, not able to cash in. We'll see if he can do it here and get the Yankees within striking distance of the Phillies. They're down 6-1. Melky holds up 1-1. What do you think about his stance? Open, a lot of hand movement, bat movement.
I like the way his head is kind of forward a little bit, kind of leaning in there like he's competing. Obviously a very athletic kid. Maybe swings and misses a little too much in the minor leagues than the Yankees would like.
Fouls that one away.
But you can just watch that swing and the bat speed. It tells you what type of an athlete he is. I mean, 23 home runs last year in the minor leagues. So there's plenty of power. I mean, this is some bat speed coming through the zone. Had a pitch to hit and missed it, which is really one of the only knocks you can have on him in his minor league career.
Cano's at third, Rivera at second. And a pitch dots the inside corner on Mesa, and that will do it. So the Yankees do get one on the board here with the RBI single by Cano. They're down 6-1 as we head to the fourth. Well, Yankees fans, if you want to guarantee you'll have a seat on opening day, get the new 12-game opening day ticket plan. You get 12 great games, including opening day. Plans are available in a variety of locations, so purchase your opening day 12-game ticket plan today by calling 212-YANKEES or visiting Yankees.com. We're back in the top of the fourth. Phillies leading it 6-1. Yankees have already seen Hiroki Kuroda. Went an inning and 2/3. David Robertson followed. Jabba Chamberlain pitched last inning. Leading things off, Jimmy Rollins. Fidel Nuno, the new pitcher, left-hander for the Yankees.
There's 33 walks and 138 in the third innings, and the strikeouts of 126.
Rollins has walked and scored in the first, doubled and knocked in a couple runs in the second. Productive afternoon for him. And a chopper to third base. That's Addison Marisak. Airmailing one to the right side of Kyle Roller, and Rollins will be aboard.
Joe Girardi's club getting off to a tough start here in spring training. 1-6 record coming into today, and one of the things has been defensively been a little bit shaky. The high throw. Roller can't make the play. Kevin Youkilis getting the rest of this game off. Routine ground ball and a wide throw.
So Rollins has been aboard all three times. Ben Revere now 1 for 2 on the day. Scored a run. And squares around a bunt. Takes a strike.
Ben Revere coming over from the Minnesota Twins. Playing a little National League style ball here. Fakes the bunt first pitch. Jimmy Rollins at first base.
Rivera singled and struck out today. And Nuno misses outside. Evens the count. Excuse me, 1-2. And all Rivera could do there was fight that one off on the inside part of the plate. Now 1-2.
Sometimes you see a pitcher, Bob, and you look at the velocity, 88 miles an hour, and it doesn't really impress you that much, but you watch some of the hitters and how they react to that fastball. Looks like Nuno a little bit sneaky with his velocity. Revere trying to hang in there left on left.
And lifts one out to left center field. And that'll be Mesa. One away. I have a feeling that Joe Girardi probably figured or realized he's going to use a few more pitchers and maybe he thought he was going to have to use this afternoon, with Kuroda going just an inning and 2/3. Robertson just a third of an inning. Faced one batter.
You know, we talk about it all the time in spring training. If you're a young player, a position player, or a young pitcher, your opportunity is probably going to come at the beginning of spring training. And the starting pitchers have not been stretched out, and that's the opportunity for this kid Nuno right here. Gets in the fourth inning, trying to open up some eyes.
And he misses, evens the count at 1-1.
If you're Joe Girardi and Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, you pay attention to particular at bats. And here a guy, Chase Utley, facing a left-hander in Nuno. How does the young kid look against the established left-handed hitting second baseman for the Phillies?
Misses away there, 2-1.
Doesn't miss by much either. Just off the plate away. Larry Rothschild looking for maybe a velocity reading. And thought that pitch was pretty close to being a strike, and I agree with him.
And Ryan tries inside part of the plate with a breaking ball. No go. 3-1.
Well, this is what Chase Utley can do with the best of them when he is healthy. Get himself ahead in the count in a fastball count. And if he gets a good fastball here, you can expect a solid swing.
And lifts that one into the seats behind first base.
Well, that was the one Utley wanted to hit, obviously fouling it off. Now a kid like Nuno, an opportunity here. If you throw a 3-2 breaking ball, you have a possibility of picking up a strikeout. But fastball in the inner half, head down from Utley, not able to center it.
And Rollins takes off, and Utley fouls that one away to stay alive. Well, Utley's so important to this team, they just have not been able to keep him on the field. First round pick, 15th overall back in 2000. He's been a 5-time All-Star. And in the World Series against the Yankees, they may have won the series, but he put up some numbers, 5 homers and 8 runs batted in. So big time player. It's about keeping him healthy. Major knee issues in the past. Played just 83 games last year. And the throw down, sort of the delay. Jimmy Rollins thought it might be ball 4. He held up. And the throw down there by Cervelli. So it turns out to be a strike him out, throw him out. Delayed double play to end things here in the 4th inning. Take one more look at this. The strikeout on the breaking ball looking on Utley, and then the throw down to second. There goes Jimmy Rollins. So we take it to the bottom of the 4th after that double play.
Tomorrow afternoon, the Yankees continue their warm-up for the 2013 season when they host the Detroit Tigers here in Tampa. Complete coverage on Yes starts at 1 o'clock when Bob and I are back here at Steinbrenner Field for all the action only on Yes.
Tigers expected to be a force in the American League Central again. They had Anibal Sanchez as the starting pitcher. Victor Martinez back, complete, healthy. Good offense, good pitching. Verlander leading that core. 6-1 Phillies here in the bottom of the 4th. As the Yankees get ready to send up their 7, 8, 9 hitters. Thomas Neal will start things off against Philippe Amon. Originally drafted by the Mariners. Part of the deal a few years back that sent Cliff Lee from the Phillies to Seattle.
I like the way you said his last name.
Kind of just throwing my fake French out there and see if it sticks. Here is Thomas Neal. 0 for 1 today.
0 for 1 with a hard hit ball to left field.
Neal actually in the offseason designated for assignment by the Indians when they signed Nick Swisher. A fastball by Omont, which is his calling card for the first out of the inning.
Well, Omont made it look pretty easy there with Thomas Neal. 3 pitches, fastball, slider, fastball. Looks like he has good deception. Ball jumps out of his hand. Tough pitch to hit right there with 2 strikes.
And here's Kyle Roller. Roller struck out looking in the second inning, his first at bat. Omont 94 on the gun and a strike. Could be a big back part of that bullpen for the Phillies. They've got Papelbon closing. Mike Adams is aboard, and then he could be a guy that would take the 6th or 7th inning.
Yeah, Mike Adams back from an injury last year and some surgery, so Phillies trying to put their bullpen together with the closer at the back end, Papelbon. You start from there and then work backwards.
Grounder to the left side. Rollins on the backhand. Strong throw across to Howard, and they got him for out number 2. So let's take a look at the candidates for the bullpen for the Phillies. Obviously, Jonathan Papelbon will close things out. They've got a couple solid left-handers out there. Raul Valdez and Antonio Bastardo. Omont is out there. Chad Durbin, another veteran pitcher. So a lot of veterans out there. And Adams could be a key coming back from that surgery that he had about 4 months ago.
Yeah, and he's pitching already in spring training, which is a good sign for the Philadelphia Phillies. But whenever you look at a bullpen, you look from the 9th inning and work your way back. Papelbon takes care of the 9th inning, and now you figure out who can get the ball to Papelbon in some safe situations, and that's your recipe for wins.
And the back end of that bullpen is so important because you want to make the potential leads with Halladay, Lee, Hamels hold up. They weren't always able to do that last year. One of the reasons why Cliff Lee didn't win as many games as he could have. Roy Halladay, though Halladay was on the DL.
You know, Cliff Lee had a 3.16 ERA last year, only won 6 games. To your point, Bob, you get the ball to Papelbon with a lead was not the easiest thing to do last year.
Adonis Garcia fouling one away. And the 0-2 from Omont. Laced back up the middle. Base hit with 2 outs here for Garcia. Well, hitting was his thing when he played for the Cuban national team from 2004 to 2011. Adonis Garcia turning around that 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
And sometimes when you talk to a coach around the batting cage this morning, we were talking to Robbie Thompson, third base coach, and he was mentioning Garcia as having that line drive up the middle, the other way approach. We got a good look at it right there and turned around a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Keep the 4th inning alive.
He's aboard with a single. Back to the top of the order, and Eduardo Nunez fouling one away. Nunez 0 for 2, a strikeout, and a ground out to short.
Well, Nunez, an interesting piece for this year's ball club. Brian Cashman, general manager, always talking about him as a shortstop. Does not like the idea of him playing left field. I think they got to find a way to get his bat in the lineup.
And lifts one out into center field. This will be an easy one for Revere as the Yankees are retired here in the bottom of the 4th inning. A man aboard and nothing else. We head to the 5th with the Phils up 6-1 here on Yes. We're back in Tampa as we head to the top half of the 5th inning. I'm all messed up. When Joe Girardi joins us, I just get messed up.
Get flustered.
It's 6-1 Phillies on the Audi scoreboard. I do. You know, my first spring game, Joe, and I'm just doing everything I can to impress you and show you what I got. It's not working out.
I'm impressed. You recovered nicely there, by the way.
I appreciate that. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the start today by Hiroki Kuroda. Gave up a few runs, but overall looked like he had pretty good command. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, there were some plays we didn't make behind him that, we probably need to make. I mean, when I look at this game, the first 4 runs, we didn't make some plays, and then you look at the 5 and 6, and we got 2 outs, nobody on, and they put 2 runs up, and that shouldn't happen. So, but I thought he threw pretty well.
Ryan Howard leading things off here in the top half of the 5th inning.
Well, Joe, you know me. I'm a very positive person, right? You know that about me.
Yes, I do.
What part do you get concerned during spring training? I know it's only March 1st. You guys have gotten kind of off to a slow start.
Yeah.
But you mentioned not making some of the plays. 3 errors again today. What point of spring training do you want to tighten it up a little bit?
Well, I think it's about the time. We have a lot of guys that are new and young and playing a lot more than they probably normally would, even at this time, just because of some of the injuries that we've had. Grandy's out, Uke's been out, Tex is trying to get ready for the WBC. He's not playing today. Robbie's not playing. So we have some guys that don't have a lot of experience. Nice pitch by Nuno there. Have a lot of experience that we're throwing out there, and these are some of the growing pains that you go through spring training. But hopefully, as they play more games, they'll relax a little bit and understand, it's no different here than in AA or AAA, and even for some of these guys, A-ball. I just got to make the play.
Yeah. I brought this up with Flash earlier as Michael Young gets set to step in. How different is a WBC year? You sort of see your guys. We know that some guys are about to leave this weekend. How different is it for you?
Well, it can be really different because guys that normally would play every other day will play 2 days in a row. You look at Robbie; he's playing 2 days on, 1 day off, and you wouldn't normally do that. Tex has done that a little bit already, and a lot of times they'll get 2 at-bats early on, and they've been staying in for 3 at-bats. And then you start missing players, and you have to start filling guys in, and a lot of times those guys don't have a lot of experience. So it is different. It gives you a chance to see some of your young kids and how far along they are and what they need to do, but it is different.
Well, Joe, a lot of storylines this spring. The WBC, one of them, the competition behind the plate, another one, Curtis Granderson in left field. But Francisco Cervelli, to me, having a good day swinging the bat, but he's throwing the ball better this spring than I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, this reminds me of when we first saw him, and I think that he kind of got a little out of whack the 1 year that he was here, and it took some time to recover. I actually think playing every day really helped him get his throwing back, and I don't know if he was trying to do too much when he was younger, or he was rushing for whatever reason, but he's been very accurate. He has a lot on the baseball. He's thrown 4 guys out this spring, and we've been very impressed, and that's what we know he's capable of doing.
Joe, it looks like a man who wants to win a job.
Right.
He's playing very aggressively and playing well.
He was smart. He took him a while to adjust to going down, and anyone who's ever been up for some time and gets sent down, it's hard. You realize how great it is to be up here, and then all of a sudden you're back down. It's difficult. But then he took it upon himself. How do I get better each day? And then he went and played winter ball as well, and it's showing up.
This is Dominic Brown, the batter. Now, what about the outfield competition? You've kind of said it's wide open. We've seen Melky Mesa, Thomas Neal out there today.
It is wide open. We have tryouts. We have open tryouts right now, with Grandy going down. And we were looking for a 4th outfielder, maybe a guy against left-handers, but now you're really looking probably for 2 outfielders. And we got to figure out what we're going to do in the next month.
Well, it's open. It's not open. I don't want Yankees fans showing up with their gloves and lining up outside Steinbrenner Field.
Well, you might see some of that. You might see some of that. Might see him taking balls on field 2, 3, and 4, trying to impress us.
Now, Joe, can one of these young kids, Melky Mesa in center field today, we've seen Almonte swing the bat pretty well early in camp. Can they just kind of wow you in spring training and say, we have to play this guy?
I definitely think that's possible. We're looking from within right now because Curtis is not a long-term project. It's, 4 or 5 weeks we're going to miss him in the beginning of the season. So, it's not a long-term project. So someone just needs to fill in until Curtis gets back and do a good job for us.
Joe, these young players that have an opportunity, do you ever talk to them directly, either individually or as a group? You know, like, hey, don't worry about the pressure, try it, or do you even feel like you need to?
Yeah, I do. And a lot of times it shows up more with young pitchers. Because sometimes you can play 3 or 4 games without even a ball hit to you, you know, if you only play in 3 or 4 innings. But the young pitchers that have to go out there, I mean, it's kind of like a deserted island, you know, the mound. It's not an island. It's a deserted island when you've never been up there, and it shows up. But they get through it, and it's good for them to go through that.
Rufus a hitter with 2 away, and another strikeout there for Nuno. Joe, thanks for being with us. Always appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we take things to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Nuno, good job there. It's 6-1, Phils. Here in Tampa, and as we do, we hope you're enjoying these aerial shots provided by DirecTV, aerial coverage. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. For those of you that haven't, yes, channel 631 on DirecTV. Downtown Tampa, and we are at George M. Steinbrenner Field as we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Phillies up 6-1 on the Audi scoreboard. That's just a few miles away. You take Dale Mabry Boulevard to get there, or a variety of ways. Watch out for the water. Francisco Cervelli will lead things off here in the bottom of the 5th. The new pitcher for the Phils, a familiar face to Yankees fans, Jonathan Papelbon. And a fastball that Cervelli fouls away.
Well, we mentioned Papelbon, a tough job for the Phillies trying to get him the ball last year and a lead. He had 38 saves, the impressive 2.44. So he did his job in 70 games. It kind of caused a little controversy here in Florida, saying that the Phillies lacked a little leadership last year. We'll see how that all plays out.
Cervelli's enjoyed a 2-for-2 afternoon, a single in the 1st and a double in the 3rd. He scored a run in that inning as well. It's the lone run for the Yankees this afternoon. Papelbon got roughed up in his first spring outing.
We've seen plenty of Papelbon his days with the Boston Red Sox. That power fastball, a good split that he can drop on you to get a strikeout. And like a lot of veteran pitchers here in spring training, the velocity lacking a little bit behind early on.
One-two to Cervelli. And goes off speed outside and misses. Now, one thing noticeable Looks like he's accelerated the look down, stare at the hitter thing he always does.
Trying to get himself in midseason form. Yep.
That's good because that'll shave seconds off the games in the regular season. I'm sure the Phillies broadcasters and Phillies fans will appreciate that. And Charlie Manuel probably will too. Cervelli in self-defense mode there, fouls it away.
Well, you mentioned Cervelli, a couple of hits today. Double to right center his last time up, and having a pretty representative at bat here against Papelbon, laying off a tough slider down and away, fouling off that fastball inside. For the 1st of March, Francisco Cervelli looks very comfortable at the plate.
You know, the one thing when you're talking to Joe about him, everybody knows when he went down last year. He was around with the team until the final day. They brought Chris Stewart in. He got sent down to AAA. Wasn't real happy about it. The nice thing is to see that, as you talked about, he's getting an opportunity here, almost as if he's hit the reset button and said, nothing I can do about last year. I didn't like it, but I have an opportunity again. I'm going to try and do whatever I need to do to be in position to have that spot.
I think Francisco Cervelli has probably realized he's a very lucky man to be in the position he is at right now, with Russell Martin signing with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And there's an opportunity for him to be pretty much an everyday player if he plays well. Another good at bat as he works a walk.
And let's go downstairs. Meredith Marakovich standing by with Kevin Youkilis. Meredith?
Kevin, you told the media contingent on Tuesday that you were ready to play then already, and they held you out a couple more games. You said you're anxious to get back in. How nice was it to get back in that lineup this afternoon?
It's good. It's good, to get in the lineup and go play and just get on the field and get the adrenaline going and get in those live game situations, seeing the ball off the bat and going up there and having at bat. So it was fun to go out there today, and everything feels good.
Safe to assume pain-free?
Yeah, everything's good, and I'm excited to hopefully play tomorrow.
Now, you told our own Jack Curry that you were working on some things with Kevin Long, changing your stance a little bit. Have you been able to reap any of the rewards of some of those adjustments?
Yeah, I think, in BP and doing all this stuff, and, there's little things I still got to work on. I went back in the video and saw something I didn't like, too big of a stride, and trying to do something today, and maybe like 2 pitches. So, it's a work in progress and little things like that. But, I felt like I'm seeing the ball good. The one at bat, I struck out looking on a pitch. But, that's part of spring training. You're trying to see a lot of pitches, and I was looking for the wrong pitch, and I got a fastball in and was kind of looking for a changeup. So, sometimes you need to just keep it basic and look for the fastballs.
Just your second spring game, but you've been around this team for a while now here. What has this transition been like for you?
Oh, it's been great. The guys are great. The coaching staff's great. The spring training just flows smoothly, and guys know what they're doing. Guys get their work in, and we have fun.
Kevin, thanks for the time.
Yep, thank you.
Send it back up to you guys in the booth.
All right, Meredith, thank you. It's Addison Marusak, his replacement here in the bottom of the 5th. Robinson Cano, his second hit of the day, another single, has given the Yankees runners at first and second with nobody away. And Papelbon missing 2-0.
Just listening to Kevin Youkilis talk to Meredith, you could tell even by watching him on the field today during BP and drills, he's excited. It's like a new beginning for him. Get those health concerns out of the way early and look forward to the rest of spring training.
There have been some defensive changes for the Phillies, as you can imagine here in the 5th inning. Some of the regulars out as Marusak fouls one away. Changes at first, second, and third, as well as in center field. And over at first base for Robinson Cano, it's Walter Ibarra taking over as a pinch runner. Cervelli's on second with a leadoff walk. Cano followed with a single, gave way to the pinch runner, and now Marusak drives one out to left field. Line shot off the top of the wall. Brown will have to chase it down, but not before Cervelli scores. Ibarra, the pinch runner, is in, and Marusak comes through with a big 2-run double. Yankees back within 3 at 6-3.
Well, Papelbon having a little bit of trouble here in the 5th inning, and you mentioned he had a rough first spring training outing The second one not going much better. Looked like a 2-1 slider. Maruzak just stays on and hammers it to left field. And the wind blowing a little bit from left to right, I think hurts this ball a little bit. Had a chance to be a home run. Brown had a little trouble getting a hold of it. Nice swing, good extension, head down.
Always looks even better in slow-mo, doesn't it? Especially probably to the guy who hits it. Take a look at that one later on. Here's Juan Rivera. Nobody out, bottom of the fifth, and the Yanks making some noise with 2 across.
But Bob, there are always situations in spring training where you kind of gauge yourself on where your swing is, where's the approach, am I seeing the ball well? And in a fastball count 2-1, to get a slider like Maruzak had and still be able to hammer it and stay back and recognize, that is a really good sign for the rest of your spring training.
Rivera has a couple hits today, a single and a double. And lines one to short. And Rollins has it for out number 1.
Oh, another good swing by Rivera. The line drive to shortstop. But little things in spring training that have to remind yourself on the bases. If you're Maruzak, you freeze on a line drive. Line drive off the bat. Young base runner at second base freezes, goes right back to shortstop in a spring training game where your base running instincts aren't the best. Nice job.
Melky Mesa at the plate. He's had a couple strikeouts with men on base. Like to take advantage of this spot with Papelbon struggling. Well struck, but foul.
Melky Mesa, a young hitter coming up, trying to open some eyes in spring training against a veteran right-hander like Papelbon. There's always a saying, you're never going to set up a minor league hitter because they leave the on-deck circle swinging the bat. Melky Mesa is no different. Anything close, he's ready to go.
What are you seeing from Papelbon here? Does not look fluid at all.
No, I mean, just the velocity at this point in spring training is a little bit short than what he's used to. And we've seen him on certain nights be a power pitcher with his fastball. We've seen other nights where he goes to the off speed a little bit more, depending on how he feels. Right now, velocity is a little short.
A little flare to the right side. And the second baseman drops it. That's Kevin Franson. What looked to be an easy pop. Pops out of his mitt. The runner advances to third. And Mesa is aboard with an E4. Franson calling off Josh Fields and not able to close the deal.
It looks like a routine fly ball hits him in the heel of the glove. I don't think the sun was a factor. Did not have any sunglasses on. So Papelbon, who's been working hard here in the 5th inning, doesn't get any help from his second baseman.
17 pitches for Papelbon so far. He's given up a couple runs, and the Yankees with one away have runners at first and third. And Thomas Neal is the batter, 0 for 2 so far. But his first chance with a runner in scoring position. And Mesa's on the go. And the throw down dropped by Franson. So Mesa's into second.
Melky Mesa, 22 steals in the minor leagues last year. Gets a good jump. The throw from LaRue behind the plate is accurate. Franson having a tough time catching that as well. The Yankees have to like the aggressiveness of Melky Mesa.
So now Neal a chance to knock in a couple and get the Yanks within 1. Papelbon up high and misses. Evens the count at 1-1. And foul into the stands along the right field line. Good catch by a fan out there. And he hung on to the cup, and that's probably the most important.
That is the most important thing. Makes a nice play, holds on to the cup, little bobble, secures it. You love the fist pump as well, enjoying the attention. You sit back and enjoy your beverage.
Rusak's on third, Mesa's on second, and a foul ball. Neal's 25 years old, a .314 hitter at Double-A last year. And a swing and a miss. And that'll do it for out number 2.
We'll take a look at what the pitch was. It goes straight down and away, either a good hard split finger or maybe a slider. It's Neal out in front.
And with 2 away, Kyle Roller is the batter, getting the start at first base today. 0 for 2, does have power, and he's got a chance here with the runners at second and third and 2 away. And Papelbon gets a strike across at 89 miles per hour, 0-1. Swing and a miss, and Papelbon quickly ahead 0-2.
A good opportunity for the young left-handed hitter. Roller faced Halliday's first at bat, got caught looking on a fastball in the inner half, facing an all-star closer in Papelbon. A couple of fastballs to get ahead 0-2. We'll see if he sticks with it or he goes off speed.
And hanging in there.
See Roller in his 18 home runs last year in Tampa, 85 RBIs. But really doesn't have a whole lot of movement in his swing, doesn't have a big leg kick, a pretty simple approach. Should serve him well as he moves up the minor leagues.
And looks at ball 1 from Papelbon, 1-2 with 2 away here in the bottom of the 5th. The Yanks have scored a couple, have a couple in scoring position. Trying to fight their way back into this game against the Phillies. Roy Halladay getting the start for the Phils, his second spring start. He kept them scoreless for 3. Actually gave up a run in the 3rd. Papelbon misses again. 2-2.
Well, a couple of good takes right there from Roller. And, you know, the ex-catcher in me always comes out by when I watch hitters and I'm like, how would I try to get him out? And you look at a guy like Roller, and you would try to pitch him up in the zone a little bit, and Papelbon just did that with back-to-back fastballs. Young left-handed hitter didn't bite.
And goes away there and gets him. So that'll do it here in the bottom of the 5th, but not before the Yankees get a couple on the board against Papelbon. It's 6-3 Phillies heading to the 6th. And we are back here at George M. Steinbrenner Field with the Phillies still leading the Yankees, but the Yankees get a couple across in the bottom half of the fifth. It is 6-3 now. John Mayberry Jr. leads things off, a 2-for-2 afternoon. Scored in the second, single, and knocked in a couple runs in the third. And hard hit out to left field. That chases the new left fielder back. That's Ronnie Mostelier. Route number one. Melky Mesa has moved over from left field to center. And Zoilo Almonte is out in right field.
Well, he's able to smile. He got himself turned around a little bit, and I thought he was going to be in trouble. That ball was hammered by John Mayberry to left field. Able to turn around, run to a spot, make the play.
And it's the catcher, Steven LaRue, first pitch swinging to second base, and that's Walter Ibarra, who took over for Robbie Cano, 2 away. Ibarra pinch ran last inning and scored. And back to the top of the order in Jimmy Rollins. Rollins has been aboard all 3 times today. Fouls one off.
Jimmy Rollins getting his 4th at bat of the afternoon. Obviously one of those guys going to the World Baseball Classic, getting extended at bats early in spring training.
And a swing and a miss. Good pitch there by Nuno.
All of a sudden you start thinking Nuno's been in there for an extended stretch and has looked pretty good. Picking up a couple of strikeouts.
And missing inside on the hands of Jimmy Rollins. Moves the count full 3-2.
Again, the velocity for Nuno not overly impressive, 87, 88, but he gets a nice reaction from some of the hitters.
And fouled away. A chance for a 1-2-3 inning and get the Yankees back up there at the plate.
Well, you seem to dissect everything from young pitchers, but the fastball in, and then he comes back with a 3-2 breaking ball for a strike that Rollins fouls off. Little things that you don't see from young pitchers a lot.
Tries to dot the outside with a fastball and misses, so Rollins is aboard for the 4th time this afternoon.
And it didn't miss by much either.
So let's take a look at the defensive changes. Again, Mustelier out in left, Mesa in center, and Almonte in right. We mentioned Marusak at third base now for Kevin Youkilis. It's Velasquez at short, Ibarra at second, and Bird at first. Cervelli still working behind the plate. And Nuno in his 3rd inning of work. And that's Tyson Gillies in for Ben Revere.
Cody Epley looks like he's ready to go in the Yankee bullpen.
Nuno a strike, 0-2. And just slashing at that one down the third baseline. Marusak will fight off the sun, but it's about 3 rows back in the stands. And Gilly stays alive. Phillies did the damage early in this game. 2 runs in each of the first, second, and third innings. The Yankees got one back in the bottom of the third and tacked on 2 more in their half of the fifth. Looking for their 2nd win of the spring. And the pitch by Nuno gets the job done. What a way to wrap that up. After Rollins got on with a walk, he closes the door there. And we head to the bottom of the 6th.
Jabba, you made your second appearance of the spring this afternoon. How are you feeling out there on the mound right now?
Felt great, just continuing to try to work on off speed, getting over early, and just trying to eliminate, throwing my slider early in counts. So we got that done, and just continue to be aggressive with my fastball, and things are coming along.
What was the biggest difference from time 1 out to time 2?
No, just you're getting the nerves out and getting those things, and it's just being more consistent when, with your off speed and working off your fastball, and just got a little aggressive sometimes and jumping out on my front side. So it's things that I noticed and make the adjustment when I get out there. So I can feel it now, and once you get in the games, it's kind of make the adjustment on your own without having somebody to come out and do those things. So that's just that's the process that we're getting in now.
You told me this offseason, 100% healthy, you feel good. Do you feel like you have something to prove this season? Do you feel like you really want to get out there and
you just stay healthy? I mean, that's the first and foremost. You stay healthy and get out and pitch. Everything else will take care of itself. So we've done everything we've needed to do. Now it's just getting back on the mound and throw a bullpen here a couple days just to work on some things and make sure we're staying strong on my front side, not flying open, and just continue to get after it.
Jama, thanks for the time.
Thanks.
Send it back to you guys in the booth.
All right, Meredith, thank you. Bottom of the 6th. And a new pitcher for the Phillies, Raul Valdez, the veteran, and the new left fielder, Ronnie Mustelier. Jabba looking for that consistency today, trying to get a feel for his pitches. Driven out to right field. He's going to chase the right fielder back, and he just keeps looking. That is gone. Mustelier showing the opposite field power. Gets the Yankees back with another run at 6-4. Impressive power there.
Well, another hitter who has opened up some eyes in spring training, and this will continue to open up some eyes, driving the ball the other way. Spring training, the wind is definitely a factor in some of these spring training games, but really not much of a factor on this swing as Mayberry turns around, is going to run out of room.
So now a 6-4 game. Velasquez is the hitter.
We'll take a look at this swing from the side, gets that front foot down and explodes the other way. Had that good sound to it. Got to feel good too when you're running to first base and you see the flight of the ball in front of you, finds the seats out there in the bleachers.
And that wind blowing out to right field, ironically, it was the same when you and Kenny called the game yesterday. The ball didn't fly out, one time to left, and that was it. Certainly a lot more offense today, and Mustelier very impressive there. Gil Velasquez took over at short for Eduardo Nunez. And looks at a strike 3-1.
Getting back to Jabba and that conversation he had with Meredith, and there's a guy who's a veteran now, Jabba, saying I'm working on my off-speed pitches early, trying to get some curveballs over the plate. Got off to a good start in his inning, but couldn't get that third out. Michael Young, a base hit, couple of walks, and then a base hit and a few RBIs. Expect to see his game get better as the spring goes on.
Valdez, the veteran, battling back to 3-2 on Velasquez. Velasquez staying alive, fouls one away onto the net. Ball boy there making a cameo appearance. The bat boy, I should say, retrieving the ball. And fouled away onto the screen again. They're lining up. There's a flight pattern up there. And a breaking ball gets him. So good at bat all around, but it's the veteran pitcher battling back for the strikeout.
Worked his way all the way back to a full count, fouled off some pitches, and then a high breaking ball locks him up for strike 3.
So Francisco Cervelli is out of the game, and Gary Sanchez will take over behind the plate, batting second.
Well, those numbers will get your attention in A-ball last year. 290, 18, and 85 RBIs for a highly touted prospect behind the plate.
Highly touted prospect. They want to see that maturation continue. Those kind of numbers continue. I think anybody doubts what he can do with the bat. Maybe defensively they'd like to see some progress.
Yeah, and he's not in the conversation for this catching competition, but within next year or the year after he's going to be part of that conversation. The Yankees loaded with some prospects.
No doubt about it. He is ranked third of their top 10 prospects, just 20 years old.
Whenever you hear scouts or player development people talking about Sanchez, they always rave about his offensive game, and rightfully so at some of those numbers. But Jorge Posada, a guest instructor in camp, was telling me he was impressed with his throwing arm.
And caught looking there by Valdez for out number 2.
I think Sanchez thinking this fastball maybe is elevated a little bit too much. It's borderline. Valdez, the veteran, gets a call.
What do you call that, a spring training strike?
Don't ever let the umpire make the decision for you with 2 strikes. Go up there swinging.
2 away. Walter Ibarra is the hitter. Took over at second base for Robinson Cano. Was a pinch runner, actually, after Cano singled. And then he scored back in that 2-run 5th. Two away here, bottom of the 6th. And a swing. It's in the dirt. Humberto Quintero throws on to first. So the Yankees get 1 back on the home run by Bustellier. We take it to the 7th. Phillies up 6-4. Well, tonight the Nets are back home at Barclays Center to welcome Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks. Coverage on Yes starts at 7:30 with the Verizon Fios pregame. Then Ryan Ruocco and Greg Anthony have all the action from Brooklyn, only on Yes. Back in Tampa, airport code TPA. Shots being provided by our friends at DirecTV, the DirecTV blimp. And a shot over the bay, the causeway going out towards Clearwater, Florida.
That's exactly where I had my run the other day, out towards Clearwater on that little stretch.
Did you make it all the way across?
No way. I think I made it.
How far'd you go?
Yeah, that little.
Where's a telestrator when you need it? 6-4 Phillies on the Ford scoreboard.
I think it was right around the middle there, turned around and headed back.
That's pretty impressive.
I was in better shape going out than I was coming back.
You want to talk about your pace on the way out and on the way back? Well, top of the 7th in a 6-4 game. And, of course, we know there have been some changes made. Charlie Manuel bringing a lot of his starters, getting the start, but now it's Kevin Franson at second base. He took over for Chase Utley. He leads things off here in the 7th against Cody Epley. Epley in 59 games last year, an ERA 3.33. 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Little bunt laid down, foul. No, it was not foul. Excuse me. I thought the home plate umpire was calling that. Mark Carlson giving a signal. And one away.
Well, we'll pay attention to Epley in this inning, but also Sanchez behind the plate, one of the top catching prospects in the Yankee system. And he gets tested here. First batter of the inning, a bunt right in front of home plate. Not really executed that well. You'd want to get it out towards the playing surface a little bit more. An easy play for Sanchez coming up, throwing to first base.
Showing a nice arm there, no doubt about it. Josh Fields took over at first base for Ryan Howard. He's up with one away here in the 7th. And grounder back up the middle into center for a base hit. With Fields on first, Cody Ash, who took over at third base for Michael Young, is the hitter. Well struck out to right. That's a base hit. Fields will advance to third. As Almonte gets the ball back into second base.
Well, Cody Epley might want to change the game plan up a little bit. A lot of the young kids playing at the end of these games in spring training, they're going up to the plate with one thing on the mind, and that's swinging the bat and being aggressive. Little sinker middle of the plate. Epley's got to go back up third base. The Phillies trying to add on here in the top of the 7th.
Trying to get at least one back after the Yankees got one back in their half of the 6th. And now Dominic Brown, Charlie Manuel getting a good look at him today. Brown so far has been on a couple times with walks, and he scored back in the 3rd.
Well, Charlie Manuel, an old school baseball guy, does it a little bit differently. We see Dominic Brown getting plenty of at-bats today, his 4th at-bat. Ryan Howard coming back from injury. Charlie Manuel playing him a lot early in spring training. We mentioned it earlier, bringing over a very good representative ball club here to Tampa during a spring training game. Sometimes you don't see that happen.
Epley coming inside and misses 2-1.
Well, if you're Cody Epley with that good sinking fastball, you take your chances on something down in the zone and play for a little ground ball and the possibility of a double play here in the 7th inning.
And missing moves the count to 3-1. And a swing and a miss, 3-2.
Cody Epley changing up the game plan, goes off speed on a 3-1 count.
And fouled along the first base line, so Brown staying alive.
It's a good opportunity for Gary Sanchez behind the plate to work with a big league pitcher and Cody Epley, try to get on the same page. All the coaching staff, scouts will be watching how he looks behind the plate, working with a big league pitcher.
Brown fouling one off again into the Yankees dugout. Was it different catching guys who dropped down? Was it that big a deal?
It's not that big of a deal. It's more a big league guy like Epley who can throw breaking balls and fastball counts. You call a game a little bit differently if you're a guy behind the plate when you know you have a veteran who can get the job done with off speed. You have a young kid out there struggling, throwing off speed for a strike. It makes it a lot more difficult.
And Epley misses with that one. So the walk loads the bases with one away. Well, these two teams, the Phillies and Yankees, tied together in history as we take you back to 2009. Mariano Rivera on the hill, Shane Victorino at the plate, and the final out, you remember it well, as the Yankees capture the 2009 World Series. Good times when you hoist that trophy.
A lot of smiles usually on the field when you're able to lift that trophy. 2009, first year of CC Sabathia, Mark Teixeira, A.J. Burnett.
And Mariano Rivera wrapping things up that season with the save, and he'll be back to do it again this season. For that injury last year, back in May. He's healthy. He's thrown some simulated innings. Said he's looking forward to getting in, facing actual hitters in games.
Everybody who has watched him said that he looks exactly the same as you look at the numbers from the 2009 World Series. Phillies hit some home runs. The Yankees pitched a little bit better. Just getting back to Mariano, everybody says he looks the same as he always has. Doesn't seem to be any concerns, progressing nicely from that knee injury.
Darren Roof is the hitter. He struck out a couple times and walked. Got a chance with the bases loaded here, but behind Cody Epley, 1-2. And to third base, and that ball eating up Marusak. They'll score a run, 7-4 Phillies.
It's kind of back to what Joe Girardi was talking to us about in the fifth inning. Some plays that usually are made because Epley gets the ground ball that he's looking for, possibility of a double play to get out of the inning. But Marusak, who threw one away earlier in the ball game, kind of gets eaten up with this in-between hop. Fourth error of the afternoon for the New York Yankees.
And you mentioned what? One of their other games? Five? Now John Mayberry Jr. with another chance. Been aboard twice. He singled in this game, knocked in a couple runs. And the bases loaded with one away here in the top of the seventh.
Well, Cody Epley's got to keep himself under control. He made the pitch. He got the ground ball that he needed. The play was not made, but you got to get back after it. It'll be his 18th pitch of the inning.
And John Mayberry Jr. calling time. Brown is on second base. Cody Ash is on third. Darren Roof at first. And the 2-0 from Epley. Missing away, so 3-0. And you talked about working on pitches in spring. It's what you want to do. From the mental aspect, though, you don't want to be walking guys and allowing runs in.
No, you don't want to walk people. Obviously, you want to have a clean inning. But now, again, the pitch count a concern. It'll be 20 for Epley with one out. Behind in the count, 3-0 on Mayberry.
And he misses low, and that's a walk, and that's an 8-4 game. Second run pushed across here in the 7th inning for the Phillies. Let's check out the Mazda upcoming schedule for the Yankees. And earlier, Flash mentioned it. He and I are right back here tomorrow as the Yankees face the Tigers. 1 o'clock here on Yes. And then Sunday, we're coming to you from Fort Myers when they take on the Boston Red Sox at 1:30 on Yes. A well-needed off-day Monday. They've been talking about that one, enjoying it. They've been grinding. And then it's 6 straight to wrap up the week, starting with the Braves in a evening affair here at George M. Steinbrenner Field on the 5th. Humberto Quintero, one of the veteran catchers in here in camp. Issued a low number, so that might make him feel good. Non-roster invitee, lifts one out to right field. Zoilo Almonte, out number 2. And the throw home. Not going to be in time. Phillies push another one across to make it 9-4. And Joe Girardi will make the move to the mound. You mentioned the pitch count for Cody Epley at 22, and that's all he wants to see. As the Phillies have pushed across 3 here in the top of the 7th. Relief on the way. We're back after this.
Rookie, your first outing of the spring. How would you evaluate your performance this afternoon?
自己評価をお願いします。当然最初のゲームだったんで、まだまだいいボールもありましたけど、いいボールが少なかったっていう感じですね。
Obviously, it's the first outing for my spring training, so there were a few pitches that I didn't really like.
What were the pitches that you didn't like? What did you feel like you didn't have good control over?
何がこう良くなかった？どの球種というか。
全ての球種でね、まだまだそのシーズンのような、状態までは上がってないと思いますけど。
I guess all my pitches aren't there yet, ready yet.
When you look at what you did for this team last year, through over 200 innings, 16 wins, really the constant in the rotation. How do you go about trying to duplicate that now in 2013?
同じような活躍するためにどういうふうな調整されていますか？
一番はね、怪我をせずに、いいコンディショニングで、シーズンを迎えるっていうのが一番だと思いますし、それで1年間、怪我なく乗り切れればいいかなと思います。
The main thing is to stay healthy for the spring training, and that will lead to a better conditioning during the season.
Hiroki Bang, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Send it back to you guys in the booth.
All right, Meredith, thank you. Preston Claiborne came on in relief, and Freddie Galvis, who is now at short for the Phillies in place of Jimmy Rollins. Greeted him with a single to center, which you saw while Meredith was talking to Hiroki Kuroda. So it's now a 10-4 game, and the Phillies have batted around in this inning. Tyson Gilley's the 9th hitter of the inning. Runners at first and third, 2 away. 10-4 Phillies lead.
Well, very honest assessment from Kuroda. You see Claiborne and his numbers last year, AA and AAA. Veteran pitcher and Kuroda knowing he's only going to get better as the spring goes on. You don't worry too much about today. Look forward to the next time out there.
Swing and a miss. Claiborne quickly ahead 0-2. Top half of the 7th inning here in Tampa, and the Phillies have put 4 on the board. Yankees getting back to within a couple. Now their offense has come to life again against Cody Epley, and then Claiborne trying to close things out. Phillies can't check himself there. So they do get 4 in the inning and lead at 10-4 as we get to the 7th inning stretch, and we will keep it right here as we honor America with the singing of God Bless America.
Men and women of the armed forces that fight around the globe to preserve our freedom. Please direct your attention to the Yankees dugout and welcome Master Chief Mark Lubeski of the United States Navy, U.S. Special Operations Command, and a Navy SEAL, recently returned from Afghanistan and will stand with the New York Yankees during the singing of God Bless America. Let's have a warm round of applause for Master Chief Lubeski and all of our brave men and women for their sacrifices for our country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and remove your caps and join in Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
And we're glad you're back with us here at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa. 10-4 Phillies lead at bottom of the 7th on the Tri-State Ford scoreboard. We've already had a quick out. Addison Marisak lining out to left field. Raul Valdez in his second inning of work. No shots being brought to you by the DirecTV blimp. As we continue on, Yanks down by 6. The batter's Bobby Wilson. Wilson taking over for Juan Rivera, who got the start at DH today. And a grounder to the left side. Third baseman Cody Ash on to first, 2 away.
Valdez out for his second inning of work, has really settled in after that home run, the leadoff home run in the 6th. 3 consecutive strikeouts and now 2 outs quickly here in the 7th.
Couple more defensive changes for the Phillies. Ender Inciarte is taken over in left. Joe Mather out in right, taking over for John Mayberry Jr. Melky Mesa today has struck out a couple times, got on with an error, displaying some of that power as he knocks it out to left center field and gone. Melky Mesa teeing off Raul Valdez. Yankees get one back here in the 7th to make it 10-5.
Well, Bob, we talked about Melky Mesa and how athletic he is. 23 home runs last year in the minor leagues. Ball really jumps off his bat. What he's shown us this afternoon, he's not afraid to go up to the plate and swing. Very aggressive. Gets a slider up in the zone and hammers it out to left center field. There's a lot to be excited about when you watch Melky Mesa play.
There was no more room to go out in left center field when he hit that one. Mesa 3-run homer yesterday, and there's the shot from the blimp as you see the ball flight just keeps going here on a windy day in Tampa. That homer making it 10-5. Fly ball right field. Zoilo Almonte, and that will do it here. We'll take it to the top half of the 8th. Phillies leading at 10-5 here on Yes.
All I can
One pitch, one strike for Preston Claiborne as we go to pitch number 2 here in the top half of the 8th inning. Preston Claiborne against Kevin Franson for the Phillies in a 10-5 ball game. Phillies erupting early with 2 runs in each of the first through third innings and then 4 more in the top of the 7th. Yankees just got one back on the solo home run by Melky Mesa. Little chopper back to the mound. Claiborne to first, 1 away. Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Josh Fields took over for Ryan Howard at first base, singled and scored in the 7th. Claiborne quickly in with a strike, 0-2.
Yeah, you got to like his pace out on the mound. A good fastball, dropping that slider in for a strike.
Quick 3-pitch strikeout for Claiborne, 2 away. And I've never understood Flash. It could be a veteran pitcher with 15 years in the game or a guy in his first year of rookie ball. Why they don't all pitch quickly. Pace a game. Your defense is alert. It's science. It's proven, isn't it? I mean,
it's
a
amazing.
fact.
It's amazing when we see it. First pitch base hit right there. When you see a kid out on the mound or a veteran guy working quickly, it almost jumps out at you because we're not used to seeing it anymore. Claiborne has the stuff, good velocity and some movement, a slider. He complements that with his pace of game out on the mound.
Cody Ash aboard with a base hit. And now Ender Inciarte, who took over left field for Dominic Brown, his first at bat. He's a Rule 5 pickup, so if they like him, they'll have to keep him around. Another one of the many guys trying to earn an outfield spot here with the Phillies this offseason. Well, it's my error up on the outfield scoreboard. They had Inciarte. It's actually Joe Mather. Inciarte did go into left field. This is the spot by Dominic Brown, but they flip-flopped the outfielders, so this is Joe Mather.
Things get out of hand at the end of these spring training games, Bob, at the beginning.
I'd rather have said Mather than I did. Oh, at least we got it straightened out. We get into these games late in the game, Flash. You know the way it is. Just there's a guy with a bat, and he's at the plate. And he's got a really high number. We try and keep track of it as best we can. But now we know.
You're doing a better job than me. Writing everything down. I've given up like 2 innings ago. Scorebook is shot.
Mather with a tap on the helmet with a bat. Upset that he let that one get away. Fly ball, center field. Mesa puts it away, and that was it. Again, this is using your head, but not the good way. Mather missing that pitch. We take it to the bottom of the 8th. We're back once again here from Tampa. Aerial coverage today being brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. We thank them for being here the past couple days. Great shots of this area, of the stadium and the surrounding fields. As we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning. And the skies cleared up a little bit today. A little dicey early on. Cloudy, cool. Not really climbing above the low 60s, and expected to be a little cooler tomorrow here when the Yankees face the Tigers. 10-5, bottom of the 8th. Phillies lead it. Although the Yankees have actually out-hit the Phillies 10-9, but 4 errors committed by the Yankees today. The batter is Greg Bird, who took over at first for Kyle Roller. Now, I knew I got that sub right. You know why, Flash?
Why?
Well, have you not heard? The bird is the word.
The word.
Yeah.
Saw that one coming.
I'm surprised you got that reference. Little Family Guy reference coming at you, because you and I, this is where I lose you with the shows that I watch compared to the shows that you watch.
That's true.
Veteran Rodrigo Lopez, most Yankees fans will remember him from his time with the Baltimore Orioles. He's bounced around a little bit. Some time with the Diamondbacks, the Cubs last year. 6 major league teams in all. Chopper to the right side. Second baseman. Franson on to first, 1 away.
And Lopez, another one of these guys who's going to go pitch in the WBC for Team Mexico. They're getting a little work in early, trying to get himself ready.
Number 9 hitter, Ronnie Mustelier, has a home run back in the 6th inning. An impressive opposite field shot off Jonathan Papelbon. One thing you like about him, the body. Just looks strong, compact.
And we were talking to Robbie Thompson, third base coach, before the game. Any young guys that have impressed you? And he brought up this young man's name and said that kid can really hit. And also went a little further and said a lot of the best prospects he's seen in a long time in big league camp. Robbie had a little hip replacement surgery, getting around a lot better this spring.
And happier, he said. Usually surgery can make you grumpy, but that actually, he feels a lot better.
Yeah, he had a tough year last year, a lot of pain. Tomorrow afternoon, the Yankees continue their warm-up for the 2013 season when they host the Detroit Tigers here in Tampa. Complete coverage on Yes starts at 1 o'clock when Bob and I are back here at Steinbrenner Field for all the action only on Yes.
We saw Hiroki Kuroda today with his first outing of the spring, and tomorrow it'll be Ivan Nova getting his first go-round.
Ivan Nova has the kind of lead for that 5th spot in the rotation, although David Phelps has thrown a couple of games early on and has looked very, very crisp.
Also, with the uncertainty of Phil Hughes, you'd like to think that Nova is a guy who can give you some quality innings. They could need him and Phelps in key roles. Yo Velasquez, ground ball, shortstop. 6, 4, 3, and that'll do it here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. As we take it to the top of the 9th here in Tampa, Phillies leading it 10-5.
sleepy spring, but it's time for the Yankees to size up.
Back in the top of the ninth here on Yes. Afternoon ball game, Phillies and Yankees, and the Phillies leading it 10-5 as we head to the top of the ninth. Another pitcher for the Yankees, Tom Conley, spent time at single and double A last year, 31 games, 2.37 ERA.
74 strikeouts in 57 innings.
He'll start things off facing Darren Ruff. Ruff has been on base a couple times. A walk back in the third inning. He got on an E5 and scored in the seventh. Guy getting reps at DH today, but they hope to be able to use him a little in the infield, certainly in the outfield in some way, shape, or form. They'd like to keep his bat in that lineup. If not, he'll have to go back to AAA, but he was impressive in a short September call-up, 12 games, 4 homers, 10 runs batted in.
What's that old phrase, that saying, if you can swing the bat, they'll find a position for you, and it's definitely that way with this kid. Plenty of power in the minor leagues. You mentioned the brief audition in Philadelphia. And right-handed power. People are always looking for right-handed power bats. Watching Conley in between innings, it looked like he had a power fastball, and he's not disappointing. About 95 on the gun. Mentioned his strikeout totals in the minor league last year, more than 1 per inning. Tells you he has at least 1 or 2 above average pitches.
One just coming right at Ruff, who keeps fouling him away.
Well, this is where everybody pays attention. You've shown that you got a good fastball in the mid-90s, an 0-2 count. Do you have an off-speed pitch for strike 3?
He does. Loops one over the plate. A little flare out to right field, and all Zoilo Almonte can do is watch it drop in front of him for a leadoff base hit here in the ninth.
Oh, Almonte has been an impressive player early on in spring training, swinging the bat and strong arm in right field. Looked like he had a little trouble with that looping fly ball.
Conley, graduate of Shaker High School in New York, attended Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida.
Shaker High School, that upstate New York?
Ender Inciarte out to left. Mustelier with the catch. On the line drive, chasing Ruff back to first base, and one away.
Shaker High School not far from Albany, New York, upstate.
So one away, Humberto Quintero is the hitter. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
Bob working the last 2 games with Kenny Singleton. I would always tell him in spring training, you're a young kid. You want the manager, the pitching coach, or the hitting coach, whatever the case may be, to remember your name if you get sent down to the minor leagues. And when you watch a kid like this, Conley, with that fastball in the mid-90s, coming in, throwing strikes, being aggressive, if nothing else, you're going to remember him, what he did in spring training, showing an impressive arm.
The one thing you always look at least I do for power pitchers, look at his legs, look at his base. Good fastball in there for a strike, and that'll do it for Quintero. 2 away.
Peppered right on the outside corner. He's got an aggressive delivery and really attacks home plate. He's able to back it up with a mid-90s fastball. A lot of young kids don't really have a legitimate shot to make the ball club, but you have an opportunity to open up some eyes.
Two away, back to the top of the order, Freddie Galvis. He took over at short for Jimmy Rollins. Nice little change of pace there. Ahead 0-1.
It's his little things, and you're right, Bob. He's a first pitch change up for a strike, able to throw it for a strike. You can see why his numbers were so good in the minor leagues. Another good changeup. And with a delivery like his, where he's really attacking home plate, he's aggressive towards home plate. Gives you a nice little deception on the changeup.
Fastball at 93 misses, 1-2. Not afraid to come inside either. Little kneecapper right there.
I like everything about his game. You only seen him for a couple outs here in the 9th inning. Both sides of the plate. Power fastball, good changeup.
Goes off speed again, misses, 3-2. Fastball 94 blows him away. They'll remember his name. The name is Conley. Tom Conley. Bottom of the 9th coming up here on Yes.
Which happens year in and year out. But we had some great acquisitions, so I'm happy with my team right now, and I think Yankee fans should be excited because we have a good group.
All right, so there's Derek Jeter, always optimistic, feeling good about his offseason rehab from the surgery, and on track for getting in some ball games here. They've been circling March 10th, at least around that time. Always precautionary. The Yankees fans will be happy to see him penciled back into that lineup when the time comes. Bottom of the 9th, last chance for the Yankees here at Steinbrenner Field. Phillies lead at 10-5. Gary Sanchez took over behind the plate for Francisco Cervelli. And struck out looking in his lone at bat in the 6th. Rodrigo Lopez out for his 2nd inning of relief work. Spins one across up at the letters, and it's called a strike there by Mark Carlson.
Yeah, Sanchez struck out his first at bat on a pitch up in the zone. He wasn't real happy about that call.
Almost squared that one up straight back against the screen.
Yeah, kid who's had big offensive numbers in the minor leagues, and a nice swing right there. Kind of fouled one straight back. You always watch young hitters and their mannerisms, and it looks like Sanchez kind of gets it ready, nice and easy, nice and quiet.
And a swing and a miss for Sanchez. First out here in the 9th. Ten hits each for the Phillies and Yankees this afternoon, but a 10-5 Phillies lead. Yankees committing 4 errors. Obviously something flash they want to really clean up. Not all the starters, obviously. Some of the reserves came in, but you just hate to see that many errors in any game.
Yeah, you know, I think manager Joe Girardi, too. I mean, you don't really pay attention to the wins and losses at the beginning of spring training. You pay attention to how your team goes about their business.
Walter Ibarra, little chopper to second, and Franson can't handle it, so Ibarra's aboard.
The play for Franson coming across, trying to barehand it and come up with it and make the throw. It's a do-or-die play. I think Joe Girardi's just looking for his ball club, get some of the regulars back in there, start playing some better baseball, not as many errors, and the wins will come to the middle to the end of the month.
1 on 1 away here, bottom of the 9th. Addison Marusak, who took over at 3rd for Kevin Youkilis. He already has a double in this game and has knocked in a couple runs and is trying to keep the line moving here and keep the Yankees alive. Lopez missing inside. Shadow creeping across home plate here in Tampa. A little shattered bat. Flared into shallow left center field, and that will drop. You saw the shortstop get turned around on that one as the ball just continued to carry. So Marusak aboard, 2 aboard here with 1 away in the 9th.
Well, Marusak had a double like you mentioned earlier in the ballgame and hammered a slider to left field. Here he gets jammed, breaks his bat, but strong enough to find the outfield grass for another base hit.
And that'll bring up Bobby Wilson. Wilson took over a DH for Juan Rivera, grounded out to 3rd base in his first at bat. Got that chance back in the 7th. Now here in the bottom of the 9th. Runners at 1st and 2nd and 1 away. Wilson with an opportunity.
Well, Bobby Wilson not really in that conversation for getting a chance maybe to make it to the big leagues out of spring training. Cervelli and Stewart dominating that conversation. But a veteran guy who's got big league experience gives the Yankees another option if they choose to go that way. Always has been known as a good defensive catcher, works the staff, throws well.
Two-one count to Wilson. With Ibarra at second and Marusak on first. Lifts that one out to shortstop. Freddie Galvis gloving that one for out number 2. So first and second, 2 away. Last chance for the Yankees will be Melky Mesa. Mesa coming up with a home run in the 7th inning. A solo shot. Had a 3-run homer yesterday against the Astros. So 2 homers in 2 days.
He's ready to swing the bat right now. We've seen it all afternoon. An aggressive hitter.
Fastball from Lopez takes us back to that 7th inning, Flash.
Well, he has that good sound off the bat, a breaking ball up in the zone from Valdez, and you could see he felt good about it as he was strutting down the line. An exciting young player for the Yankees.
Can't turn on that inside pitch.
A good look at the shadows there.
(0-2) to Mesa. Fouled straight back, right on that one from Lopez. And Mesa stings one out to center field. It'll chase Gillies back. He'll fight the sun, make the catch, and that will do it. So the Yankees get a couple aboard here in the bottom of the 9th. Not able to push any more across, and they lose this one 10-5. The Phillies, some impressive offensive work early. 2 runs in each of the first, second, and third innings. Then after the Yankees get 4 back, they score 4 more in the top of the 7th. We take a look at the totals for this afternoon's ball game. Halladay gets the win. Kuroda takes the loss. 10 runs and 10 hits, 1 error for the Phillies. 5 runs, 12 hits, 4 errors for the Yankees. Jimmy Rollins 1 for 2, a productive afternoon. John Mayberry in the battle for an outfield spot, doing well. And Kuroda, well, an inning and 2/3, 4 runs allowed, but just 1 earned. Had some defensive miscues behind him. Well, that will do it from here at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Today's game produced by Bill Boland. Coordinating Director John Moore, Senior Vice President of Operations Ed Delaney, Supervising Producer Woody Fryman, and the Executive Producer is Mr. John J. Filippelli. Join us again Saturday for Yankees baseball as the Bombers take on the Tigers here, starting at 1 o'clock on the YES Network. Once again, the final score, Phillies 10, Yankees 5. For John Flaherty and Meredith Morakovitz, I'm Bob Lorenz. Great having you with us here from Tampa.